Well, hello everybody. Welcome to the show today. Very happy to have you all here. Hopefully, it's been a great weekend for you. You had yourself some good time, hopefully with mother. Of course, it's Mother's Day, and happy Mother's Day to all those mothers out there. And hopefully, you were able to do something for your mom. It is for me a beautiful sunny day again, which is nice. I got myself half a cup of very cold coffee. Oh well. But we're going to get into some stuff today. Of course, we're going to be talking about various things that are going on around the world and all the other kind of odd and strange things happening in entertainment, which is really what we kind of get on about here mainly. But and there's always something to talk about with that. Hopefully, coming soon, we'll have more things to praise because we do want to see some great movies. I think the last thing that hit that everyone seemed to universally like was Nosferatu from Robert Eggers. I still haven't seen it yet. It's coming in theaters. I think the end of this month here in Japan. Maybe I'll go see it in the theater. I'm not sure. Might go see the new Mission Impossible 2. That's something normally I would just watch at home, but I haven't been to the cinema in a very long time. And the Japanese are quite excited about this. A lot of people are talking about it. There's posters everywhere. Matter of fact, I haven't seen as much chatter about a movie in Japan, maybe ever, from my personal experience anyway. I might go watch that just to simply be amongst a crowd of excited people. And Like I said, I haven't been in a theater in a while. It might be nice to go back and get some overpriced popcorn and drink and watch the last of the Mission Impossible. To be fair, there's a it's a fun series, but then again, Tom Cruise is always fun. I mean, that's what he does best. It's just fun. And My favorite one was the one that kind of ended up there in China with I can't remember his name, but that really good actor that passed away, Hoffman, I think his name was Hoffman, played the bad guy. That was my favorite one. That was a good one. Another movie that Tom came out with somewhat recently was The Mummy. And a lot of people really hated on that movie, but I've watched it twice and I don't know, it's fine. I don't know what the problem with it is. It's fine. It's got a couple of really good scenes in it. But then again, I think most all movies, even the super woke ones, probably have a scene or two that are fun. I would say in general, especially with the kind of money they spend on stuff. We've seen the absolute fall of the MCU here recently, of course, which is 100% of their own doing. They can't blame anybody else. But Of course, with Thunderbolts, oh, I'm sorry, the name has been changed. The New Avengers. And From all accounts, it sounds like it's fine. It's very watchable. It's not that annoying. Is the general views I'm getting. It's fine, but of course it's bombed. One of the biggest bombs they've had, and it's done already. And it's unfortunate that we get one of their movies that isn't straight up bad, but just fine. And Unfortunately, it is what it is, right? But nevertheless, that's kind of the way it's been going here for them. And Oh well, I guess. I don't know if they can recover from this. Oh, why is this? It's having problems. All right, let me just shut that down completely then. Sorry, I'm having a little bit of issues over here, but I think I've got it sorted. But they've been having lots of troubles because of all the nonsense they've done, and I honestly don't know that the MCU can even recover. They might just be done. It doesn't matter if they put out something good or not. They might just simply be done. People are done with it, and we're gonna have to. They'll just have to shut down for a while and focus on other things. The simple fact of the matter is, they're threatening us, and I take it as a threat that we're going to get another 10 years of X Men, and it's like none of us believe they can do that. None of us. So looking here on Twitter, and why is it always got horrible people doing horrible things? Anyway, I won't look at it. How's about that? So we come over here and say welcome to everybody. Hit like and share over on the stream. Let people know we're on, of course. But Yeah, so I'm not really sure with the MCU, or and I don't even know if DC is in too much of different of a boat. To be fair, I don't know that DC's put out any good movies though, whereas at least the MCU put out a few, pretty good movies and some pretty, simple, fun popcorn movies. Where DC, I can't name one that was actually good. The Man of Steel, I liked it, but it was really hated. Although it definitely had some things in it they shouldn't have had. But I mean, obviously you have someone in charge that doesn't understand Superman, so so that's not even a good thing. Um, yeah, help me out, chat. Is there anything that's actually good that's come out of DC live action? I mean, their animated is pretty good. They got some good stuff over there with that, but I don't know. The Wonder Woman movie was fine. I mean, the first one anyway. It wasn't great, but it was fine. So I guess that's better than else other things. The Justice League movie was not great. The Schneider cut was a little better. Um, you had Batman versus Superman. That was just a slog. It was horrible. My kids hated it, and that's not a good sign. Yeah, and Roger says no. Yeah, I can't think of anything that DC's made that was really, really good. Where at least Marvel has had a few good things and a lot of bad though. But they've been pushing and dropping a lot more than DC. But to be fair, with this shift to Gun, and doesn't look like Gun's going to really produce any mega hits. He might, get a couple of things that'll scratch by, but I have a feeling he's just going to lose money for him. I mean, Gunn is too. His ego is way too big. That's a problem. But he's just too much stuck in his yuck yuck thinking to really be. He's not the right person to have as an overall person in charge, is he? If you're going to have him make a yuck yuck thing, he's good at that. But as far as guy kind of being the guy to oversee stuff, especially with his ego, it just doesn't look like it's going to work. Maple Chic says the first Shazam was good. Well, the first half of it was. The way it opened and introducing Billy and the way they did, I thought was great. But they introduced the family way too soon, dude. I mean, like 5 movies too soon. We should have just stayed with Billy for a while, and not just throw the family in for no reason whatsoever. And the second one was abysmal, abysmal. But yeah, the first half of the Shazam was okay, but overall, no, definitely not. Um, no, there isn't. I don't agree with that. I think the first half was fine. It's kind of, but then again, if you look at the Green Lantern movie, which came out with Ryan Reynolds so long ago now, the first, I'd say 70%, 80% of that movie was great. And then they ended it the way they did, and it was, oh my goodness, it just destroyed all that good work. Um, Aquaman had some, like I said, most all movies have good parts. I think there were good points in Aquaman. It just was an hour too long, and I didn't even bother with the second one. But the first one was just an hour too long. There was a bunch of nonsense in there that didn't need to be there. They could have saved that for a whole nother movie. That whole ending of that movie could have been a completely different movie, right? And the whole thing with his mother was just complete waste of time. Just cut that all out. I mean, they could have done something fun with his mom, but they didn't. The second movie, from what I understand, with his brother, there's some good parts with he and his brother together, and that's cool. But yeah, it's just they just can't seem to hit the landing, dude. They just can't. That movie was way, way, way too long. It should have been all about him and Black Manta fighting, and the setup where his dad died, and he blames, his father was, of course, at fault, but blaming Aquaman is pretty standard villain thing to do. That you had your movie right there, done, right? But they just had to bite off more than they could chew. I liked him interactions between him and his father. I thought it was pretty good. I like that actor. Um, uh, yeah, neither did I, Dave. I didn't see the point in bothering because they just were worse than the first, and the first were they weren't worth my time. And like I said, they with Shazam, it's a shame because they introduced the family way too soon, dude. It did flounder. I get the joke, Alan. But everything has been floundering because they're either doing way too much or they have to put the message into everything, which is people are way past irritated. or they're just not hiring people who can really have the chops. They're not demanding more, which is the problem with DEI hiring, which is they're still doing it, is because you don't actually get the best. You got to base everything on merit. Who can really pull it off? And we're not getting that. And that's across the board. That's not just the girls, it's the guys too. But yeah, they're just wasting, they're burning money when honestly they should do things just more simply. I mean, look what they did with the Daredevil Reborn, right? You had D'Onofrio on board and Cox on board, and those are the two guys that made the entire thing. It's all you need is those two. But of course, the whole show is more about the women around them than them. And it's like, what are you doing? You have D'Onofrio as Kingpin. Lean in on that hard, right? And Charlie Cox can do Daredevil. He can do Matt Murdock. But so they missed the opportunity, and of course it failed horribly. Didn't even make the Nielsen's at all. Didn't register on the Nielsen's once, not once. That's insane. A big budget thing like that from a major studio didn't even make the Nielsen. Shows you how few people were watching it. And honestly, I think the only people who watched the damn thing are the people who were reviewing it, and they all said the same thing. The first two episodes were okay. It was like, all right, here we go. Maybe we'll get something, and then it just went girl power, woke message nonsense down, just completely collapsed. Nonsense stuff, and it's a shame because you could have had something great with doing the storyline where of course Wilson Fisk becomes mayor of New York. You could have done something cool with that, right? But and of course the comic book, it was all right. I mean, it's not the best Daredevil run in the comics, but it's just the way they are. They can't get out of their own way. And there's so many things that are like this. Like I said with the Thunderbolts, or excuse me, the New Avengers, they insist on it being called that. Is the problem with it is it has all that bad taste in everyone's mouth that's hurting it because, like I said, from all the reviewers that I trust, it sounds like it's fine. You can go and watch it, have some popcorn, and have an enjoyable popcorn movie. It's fine. And it's a shame they keep shooting themselves in the face, right? Um, let's see here. Alan says if Hollywood flounders more than SeaWorld. Well, that's probably true. SeaWorld's still doing this, their same old shtick since I was a kid. Matter of fact, one of my students here over Golden Week, because it's a big holiday. So when the kids come back, I always ask them, "How was your whole Golden Week? What did you do?" And of course, their families go do something. One of the girls had gone with her family to SeaWorld, which I didn't even know they had one in Japan, but they do. And she went and saw the show, and I was like, "Oh, what did you see at the show?" And she said, "Oh, there was a killer whale named." Um, uh, Shima or Shama. I think it was Shama. And she talked about what it did. And of course, this reminds me when I was a kid and we had Shamu at SeaWorld. So not only are they doing the same exact shtick they did when I was a kid, the name of the killer whale here in Japan is almost identical. So, it works. Not mad at the name change. It wasn't Thunderbolts. No, it wasn't. You needed Baron Zemo more involved, and it needed, it's like the anti Suicide Squad. Really, is what the Thunderbolts is. But the new Avengers, really, really. I mean, goodness gracious. And it's unfortunate. I think also a little bit for the Florence Pugh girl. From all accounts, she did a good job. But she just isn't anything near as interesting as Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow. She's just not. I mean, she was chosen because she's unattractive. It was during that period where you can't have a pretty girl. We're still kind of in it, but she was chosen because she was unattractive. Luckily, she can act, it sounds like. But, she's not attractive like Scarlett was. She's kind of got that shrunk up, no neck body. I can't believe for a second that she's an action star. Not 1 second. Because although she can act, she can't sell action, where Scarlett could. I mean, if you watch that thing in, was it Iron Man 2, where she's a complete bitch in that movie, but that's the point, I guess. But if you watch an Iron Man 2 where she's going through the hallway, it's a bit laughable, It's a little bit, but she worked pretty hard to pull it off. So I'm like, all right, fine, right? Especially at that time, we didn't have any of this woke woman nonsense going on, so it wasn't in your head. But Scarlett can sell it a little bit. This girl, Florence Pugh, can't sell action at all, at all. She might be a good actress, but they're not the same thing now, are they? We had a Shamu stuffed animal from the gift shop. Yeah, there you go, Dave. But yeah, no, I mean it's interesting here. What 40 years later, and they're still doing the exact same shtick with SeaWorld, with the killer whale shows. Cool. If it works, don't if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I guess. Like I said, I was surprised. I didn't even know there was a SeaWorld here. I know we have a Disney World in Tokyo or Disneyland, and they have a Disney Sea, which has a lot of that kind of stuff. It's their own little special thing, I guess. But I've never been. My family's been multiple times, but you know, dad runs a business, dad works. So whilst dad is working, the family goes off and plays. But I think that's pretty standard for a lot of dads. So my kids have seen it at least. I do know they have a few aquariums here, and probably the best aquarium near me is down in Okinawa, and it has the largest front glass of any aquarium on Earth, and it has not killer whales. It has whale sharks in that tank. Show you how big it is. Um, Alan says Pew should have gotten ripped for a role like that. She looks like a bag of milk. She does. She does. Like I said, it sounds like the girl can actually act, though, which good for her. So maybe she'll find some success elsewhere. But she was chosen just like so many of the other ones because she's not pretty. They literally cast them because of that. And you would think they'd be upset about this if maybe they're just simply not they're not aware. But we've seen so much of this, and of course, one of the big ones that sticks out in a lot of people's head is Daisy Ridley, chosen to play Ray. She was chosen because she looks like a 12-year-old boy. That was the whole point. This androgyny of the character. I mean, they strapped that poor girl's tits down so hard, man. I wonder how uncomfortable it was for her to shoot those movies because they strapped her down hard and they tried everything they could to just make her flat and boy-like. And of course, she kind of looks like a boy, which is why she was chosen. The problem with her is she has zero charisma, zero. She's not interested. I mean, she could do the job she can read lines, but she has no charisma. She's completely uninteresting. I've seen her in several things. She's not an actress. She didn't have the charisma, none. I mean, she was playing like a background actor or something like that, maybe, but she just has zero charisma, man. Um, yeah, if it's not broke, don't fix it with the SeaWorld thing, yeah. But it also there's also a lack of creativity. It's true. It's true, and we're seeing that. Of course, you saw the tag I had for today. They're remaking everything, and we know they've been doing this a while, but boy, they are not backing up, man. I'm going to cover a couple things today. It's just anything they can remake. And I'm not saying remakes don't work. The 80s was built upon remakes of bad movies from the past. And the problem is these days they remake successful movies instead of the ones that were a good idea but failed, which is why the 80s was so successful. They just keep remaking successful stuff, and that's just killing them. And I'm going to show you a couple more today, but boy, they cannot get away from it, dude. They can't. Um, yeah, that's true. But yeah, I don't know what to say. It's unfortunate. We're in a bit of a winter right now when it comes to entertainment. But then of course there are plenty of other things to do with your life. You don't need entertainment. You could start woodworking. You could get an old car, try to fix it up. You could start a little garden if you like. You could go hiking. There's tons of things hobbies you could pick up to fill your time without any need for any of this TV or movie theater stuff at all. And we've seen, of course, an incredible increase in these things, particularly with mechanics and woodworking. Those two things have picked up a lot. and it's a fun little hobby, right? Especially you got so many single guys out there, that if you can find a little space on your around you, and just set up a little teeny, a workshop, you can start making stuff and learning and having joy from it. Um, and it's become quite popular. I'm learning electric guitar. Sweet, good on you, Dave. Yeah. I always wanted to play guitar, uh, and I had to test on it when I was in school, but I suck. Because I got Erb's palsy in my left hand, my left arm, so I just, the guitar and piano were not for me, dude. I did have to test on them, so I did learn how to play them, but like I said, I think my professor was just being kind. Yeah. But the woodwind and brass stuff I did and percussion was good, so good enough. But yeah, I wish I could play them. But I have an Ingve Malmsteen signed guitar. It sits gathering dust. Oh well. But my guitarist in my band doesn't like him because he plays phase guitar. I'm like, okay, fine. But nevertheless, you should. There's plenty of things to do. My wife and I always enjoyed movies. We went to the cinema so much because there was so much fun to be had right now. But now it's not fun. It's way expensive. And of course, these businesses, the cinema, when they struggle, what companies do is just jack their prices, which makes it worse, just compounds the problem, which is what they're doing. Like I said, I haven't been since COVID. I haven't been, and that's years. What is that? 5 years? I have not been in a cinema. That's crazy, dude. Dave says my first job out of high school was at a Liffey Tube. Yeah, did that for like a decade. I don't want to work on cars. Okay, well, don't. You're playing guitar. Do that. But I'm saying there are plenty of hobbies and things you can do in this lack of entertainment world that we have. Because if you go to the TV world, it's even worse. It's just crap after crap, woke nonsense everywhere. It's absolute crap. I haven't seen a good TV show in over a decade, dude. I cannot think of a good one in over a decade. It's bad. It's bad, bad. But like I said, there are a lot of hobbies, and if you go on YouTube, you see that people have picked it up. There's a lot of people doing these kind of hobbies, and there's a lot of resources. And recently a big report came out of I don't know, some university or think tank or something, saying that women don't have a sisterhood, and this is why feminism can never work. Like, okay, fine. But of course, it's very true. We know that, especially in Western loud cultures that have no moral or ethical, grounding, cultural grounding to them, which they burned down those walls long ago in the West. Women are their worst enemy that a woman has is a woman, right? We all know this. But they're bemoaning it on and on and on. But the thing is, men are much closer to that. I wouldn't say it's a brotherhood per se, but there are certain rules and things we don't cross, right? I mean, I've never had a situation that I've been betrayed or stabbed in the back or harmed in any way by a guy. I certainly had women do things like that, but never a guy. But this brotherhood of information, though, if you want to look at it like that, is out there, and you can get involved. In a way, you can kind of feel bad for the ladies that they put themselves in this situation, but they have. Dave says, "My first job out of high school." I read that. Sorry. But yeah, Jiffy Lube. My first job during school. Well, my first job, I had my own little shoveling snow and lawn mowing business when I was little. But my very first, official job, I think, was at a job lot. Yeah, I think it was a job lot, which was just a kind of anything store when I was a kid, and I was a shelf stocker. And then I worked over at the Stop and Shop as a bagger. And I didn't like that job and left because they forced me to pay union dues. I mean, what the hell? I'm a part-time high school kid. What are you doing? But yeah, I had a lot of stupid jobs as a kid. If you want to know a woman's faults, praise her to her friends. Oh yeah, that is very good job, Mr. Franklin. Yeah, that is true. It is true universally. I don't know why women are so antagonistic toward each other, but they do tend to be so. Uh, but um, but nevertheless, I'm just saying that there's a lot of opportunity for guys these days to get out there and learn something new, and the information and the knowledge at your fingertips, like particularly with like YouTube, it's just insane, dude. You can, like I mentioned, the woodworking, and this is just one example. There are literally thousands of things. But with the woodworking, you can go where normally when I was a kid, it would probably take you 5 years to get to a certain point of proficiency. But now you could do that in months because all the mistakes you would normally make, or all of how do I do this, you can find everything. You can learn so quickly these days on how to do a thing, whether it be, raising pigs, or having a garden, or sailing, or going fishing, or trying to learn how do I actually catch fish, things like that. The knowledge base is insane, and it's great. So it is what it is. Now Thundero said he was going to be a bit late, so here we are, a bit late, and we'll see if he shows. I'm just kind of killing time to see if we actually get on any subjects. But I guess I will go ahead and try to. Let's see if he says anything. Yeah, he said just a little late. Let me try to cover a couple of things then that I would know that he wouldn't. The situation in China isn't changed; it's just worse. Because I do try to do around the world, what's going on politically. Um, it is just getting worse. The arson fires in China are happening multiple times a day now. It's not just every day; it's many times a day. And of course, the problem is we have a lot of workers in China that are coming on near a year now where they haven't been paid. So they're disgruntled, and of course they're starting fires. We had a big fire at a place that fire actually is going to hurt most all of China, actually, because it was at one of the largest package creating factories in China, meaning it creates packaging for other companies, right? Then it sounds, innocuous, but it isn't, because they need those things. That burned down, and the reason that burned down is because a guy was working. He injured his hand very badly, which is a common occurrence in China. They have no safety measures whatsoever, and his employer would give him no compensation whatsoever, and he was basically just fired. So, oh, too bad, we got another guy coming in. So he got mad and he set the place on fire, and it burned down. The terrorists aren't helping, that's for sure, Alan. Um, I can't. He says I usually take pigs out to dinner. Well, I'm just saying that there are some really, if you know how to raise pigs, because there's a right way to do it and a wrong way to do it. You need a bit of land to do it, though. You have to rotate the pigs throughout the year. But if you do it correctly, it's not going to smell. You got to have healthy pigs, and there's a lot of money in that, dude. There's a lot. You'd be surprised how much money there is in keeping pigs. But that's why I mentioned it. But anyway, so we have fires multiple times a day. We're having the kind of public stabbings and attacks and car attacks in China are at a high rate. Um, it's pure chaos. There's people that are just protesting in the streets like every day, and they know that, they'll run when the cops come, but some of them will get caught, and they're going to go to jail, and they might not get out. You might never see them again. That's the reality what's going on in China. But the people, when it gets to a point like in Iran, it's having the same problem, that death doesn't scare people anymore. That's a bad thing, dude. There's serious trouble. So China is not improving, even though it sounds like Trump is announcing some kind of trade deal. But keep in mind, I've been talking to you guys for years. This situation in China is not a new thing. This has I mean, the tariffs didn't help, but it was already a downward spiral, guys. So many of 83, I think it was the last number I saw, 83% of all companies, international companies, have pulled out of China. and gone Southeast Asia, India, things like that. Which brings us to India. Now, of course, we know India and Pakistan have been throwing some fire at each other. Well, Pakistan, really. And it's dumb because Pakistan is a poor, ignorant, stupid country. And if you go look at the way their leaders speak about, we beat India, okay, they're literally using video game footage to show them being successful in war. I'm not joking. They literally did this, right? Whereas India just systematically showed all their videos of precise bombing and showed what they did. But India doesn't want to fight. They don't want it at all. They're busy. They're starting to make money. They've got deals on the board. They don't want any conflict. They want to get to business. So that situation is really all about Pakistan. Whenever they're ready to stop, it'll be done. The only good thing about it is they can't stand up to India at all. There is nothing there. Yeah. Yeah, no, that's true. A lot of people in Cuba raise a pig for food later. Have that good pig roast once a year, right? But it used to be a lot of things like that. If you go back to the old days, on the holidays, a couple times a year, the local temple would sacrifice, depending on the population around, would sacrifice a few cows, or pigs, depending where you were, and mostly cows, and they would have a big old festival, and everybody would come and during the festival get free meat. Therefore, everyone's getting meat at least once or twice a year. Whereas, there's plenty of poor people who hardly ever get meat, right? In the old days. These days, of course, depending where you live, Americans have no clue how other people live. The reality of the fact is, most people on this planet don't eat every day. That's the majority of people on the planet don't really eat a meal every day. Maybe they'll have one every other day, right? Or every third day in the worst case situations. That's the reality of our planet. And understanding the difference between the haves and the have nots is a bit difficult for the haves. And honestly, it's probably difficult for the have nots as well. Uh, but uh, but yeah, you eat a lot of food, and a lot of people don't have such things, particularly meat. But in America, there's always money to be made raising pork, dude. Always. America is the pork country, the number one pork country on earth, I'm sure. I don't know, China. Yeah, but China, if this was like a decade ago, I'd have to give it to China. But right now, no. But there's always money in that. I hear that those small Guernsey cows, the miniature Guernseys, are really great. They're easy to keep alive. They're easy to maintain, and they're easy to make a profit on. So. But no matter where you live, you got a little bit of land, you can make money if you get at it. Plain and simple. Get out of the cities, go to the countryside. You'll find their land prices are much cheaper. Well, everything's cheaper. I noticed that you had a bunch of California people saying Trump said he was going to lower gas prices. Look at the prices, Trump. It's $7 a gallon. Yeah, well, okay, go to a red state, lady. It's like $2. You know, maybe you're the problem, right? But of course, that's a radical difference, isn't it? That's $5 a gallon difference. So why? Hey, Tank, what's up? But yeah, so a lot of that's going on. And unfortunately, I can only see data. I'm not living in it like you guys are. I'm certainly not. But so that's the situation with India and Pakistan. It's really, if Pakistan wants to get their head throttled, then they keep at it. India's really not interested. Russia, Ukraine should have given up the ghost long ago. It's just ridiculous. Every day the Russians just push a little forward, a little bit forward. Every day they're taking territory, and of course, what the Russians are after, is attrition, and they've won that 100%. The Ukrainians are now throwing women into the fight, which is kind of ticking off the Russians, to be honest with you. But yeah, I mean, and Zelensky refuses to make any kind of real negotiation or even sit and talk about things. He just won't have anything to do with it. And it is what it is. I think the Americans just thrown their hands up and say, all right, whatever. Let's see what else we got going on. Southeast Asia is Southeast Asia. Many of the countries' leaders down here are really threatening Islam to watch their step because the Muslims are getting a little uppity. If you haven't noticed, so the Southeast Asian countries here are being a little bit preventative, and they're saying to our Muslim populations, FAFO, and I'm here all day for it.
Big fan of it, are you?
Oh yeah, well, dude,
Huge
you
fan.
can't live with the damn Muslims. You know you can't. I don't care what
This is
YouTube
true.
says. You know you can't. We're just
This is
not
accurate.
compatible. Yeah. Let them go over there and live the life they want to live, man. I'm cool. I wish we'd leave them alone. I wish we'd stop. I think we Western powers, big air quotes there, get the hell out of Africa, get the hell out of the Middle East, and just restrict their movement into our cultures. Let them do their thing, man. Leave them be.
Yeah, let's build a wall,
Yep,
a great big beautiful wall.
yep.
We can make it out of sandstone so they don't get confused.
It's
And
true.
then
Yeah,
just a big
or
beautiful
more
wall.
confused.
Yeah. And just leave them.
Yep. Leave them be. Let them deal with their own shit. Let the
We can get our own
Saudis,
oil.
let the Jordanians, let them deal with it.
We got our own oil. There's literally nothing the Middle East can provide to us that we do not already have. And in more quantity or better versions of.
Yep.
Nothing.
Yep.
Nobody can name a thing. What's the thing? What's the thing they got that we don't got?
It's true.
There's more oil in both Colorado and probably Alaska, for almost certainly Alaska, than all of the Middle East combined.
Yep.
So what are we doing here? Colorado alone has the largest, I think the largest reserve in the world, but they still haven't tapped it because, something environment, something
Right, right.
something.
Of course, yeah. Well, that's frickin' T. Lawrence's fault. Lawrence
It's
of
whose fault?
Arabia, that guy.
Oh, yeah, that
T.E.
white guy?
Lawrence.
Yeah.
Yeah, the white guy. It's his damn fault. He's the one that organized the Arabic tribes. He just let them infight and barbarity and kill each other because that's what they were doing. That was his message to them constantly was, as long as you are barbarians infighting amongst your tribes, you shall never see prosperity. Fuck you, Lawrence. Look what you did.
This is what we've done. This is what our race does, Chester. We try to help,
Yeah,
and then we make people more
we
powerful
make
than
it
they have any
worse.
right to be.
Yeah,
And then look what we're dealing
yeah.
with. If we'd have just left them in the filth and did our own shit, everything would have been fine.
Yeah, let them do their own, man. We don't have to mess with them. Let them do their own thing, man. They're happy doing what they want to do. Leave them be. Quit trying to
It's it's
tell everybody what to do.
it's the white man's wanderlust. We can't help it. We
It
want to we
is.
want to go out and see the world, and then we go out in the world, and it's just a bunch of shit. It's
Yeah, but
just shit everywhere.
it's also the Karen racism though. It is because we're so much better than you. You need our help. It's
Yeah.
like,
Mhm.
dude.
Even the Romans were like that. Like, no, stop it, stop it. They
Yeah,
don't need your help. They need you to leave them alone
leave
because
them be.
otherwise they metastasize like cancer.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. No, with all the Ukrainian flags in Canada, I see they think they are helping them fight. Yeah, well, that's the mentality in it. And of course,
Yeah, they're helping them, all right.
they're helping them blow their population to hell is what they're doing. And of course,
I
what
mean,
you
there is a plus side. There's going to be a lot of single, probably single forever, beautiful Ukrainian women because all the men are dead.
well,
So
dude, they're all in Poland. They're not getting them back.
well, there's a bunch of them in Latin America too,
Yeah, they're not
just
getting them
whoring,
back. They're
whoring
not
around.
getting back.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, that's going to become a gigantic, mine slash farm is what that's going to become.
So
Um,
nothing will change. Got
yeah, yeah.
it.
Well, it's got that
That's the
kind of
weird thing about wars, right? Most of
yeah.
the time, and throughout all history, the vast majority of the time, literally nothing changes at the end. All these
Hmm.
people die. All these people get killed, mostly men. All these dudes get maimed, murdered, traumatized. Women get raped. All this stuff.
It's
All this
horrible.
happens.
Yeah,
Horrible, terrible thing. War is the
yeah.
worst thing in the world. And then at the end, guess what happens?
Nothing.
Oh, you get to put a different flag above a
Yeah,
building.
Yeah.
That's
And
it.
actually
That's
what
it.
it usually the aftermath creates more problem for the future. Cuz if you
Yep.
look at what we're dealing with right now, the trouble we're dealing with, it's the aftermath of both World War 1 and World War 2 is what we're
That's
dealing
right.
with, right? This whole situation with India and Pakistan, a lot of people have in their head some weird thing in their head. That's 160, 70, 80 years ago. No, dude, that was 1947.
Yeah. Not even 100 years ago.
Yeah, Mahatma
Not even
Gandhi.
100.
See, people think I don't know why people think he's like from the 19th century. Mahatma Gandhi was buddies with Adolf Hitler, by the way, just so you can get
Pen
your time
pals.
frame
Loved
reference
him.
correct. Yeah, loved him. They were good
Loved him some
buddies.
Hitler.
Um,
Loved him some Hitler.
yeah, he did. But yeah, that was 1947, and we're still dealing with the ramifications of that nonsense. Because
Yep.
how many times since the end of that war has India attacked Pakistan? Go ahead, I'll wait. How many times?
Oh, jeez. Probably more than we're aware of, if we're
No,
being
zero.
honest.
The answer is zero. Zero.
Yeah.
They've never attacked Pakistan. How many times did the Pakistanis attack the Indians? Now you can get into I don't know the number,
Yeah, well,
right?
that's what I meant. I meant between each other, how much
Well,
violence
you
has
know,
there been?
of
Who
course,
knows?
India retaliates. But
Right.
no, it's always Pakistan starting the shit. Always. And it's weird.
It
You had a
always is, yeah.
war, it ended. The Indians, all right, you're going to take our ancestral homeland, but all right, you go do your thing. But it isn't good enough. Why isn't it good enough, Pakistan? You have
Well,
the
because
most lush
Islam.
land in all of India, but when you can't make a damn penny off it, what's your problem?
Islam.
And that's you. Well, you got it in one. You get bonus 10 points.
It's the problem everywhere it goes, aside
Yeah,
from
Islam.
communism. And the only reason communism doesn't win this debate is because it's newer. But Islam is easily the most destructive ideology humanity's ever conceived. I don't even think it's debatable.
No,
Everywhere it goes, it makes everything worse.
it does.
Everything worse.
And a
Uh,
lot of people like to throw Islam back into 600 or so AD. It's not really true.
yeah, no,
It's really around 1,000 years ago. But if you take a look at the old maps we have, and we've been keeping maps for a while,
yeah, just a
you know,
minute,
a
just a
little
minute,
bit,
yeah,
just a
just a
minute.
minute.
And if you
Yeah,
look at all those old maps of northern Africa, you know what you notice the difference between before Islam and after Islam?
tell me.
Well, other than the fact that all the natives are gone, shocking that. But
Funny how that
now
works.
North Africa is like a sprawling desert,
That's
right?
right.
But
It's a
under the
wasteland.
Roman Empire, and of course, Roman Empire technically you say didn't really die to about 400 years ago, really, if you want to look
Hmm.
at it, in a big picture. But under the Roman Empire, you look at the maps, there are rivers everywhere. It's green. It's
That's right.
green, right? So how do we go from green North Africa? I mean, the Sahel's always been desert, but the north, was very green. How do we go from proper management to absolute desertification and desolation and starvation? Oh, Islam.
Islam.
Yeah, good job, Islam. You're
And like, there's this weird trend now that you'll see from the so-called intellectuals in the West who are insistent upon that the right wing is anti-intellectual. Um, and I get where they're coming from because there is a lot of dumb fuckery on the right, no question. But I'll show you what anti-intellectualism looks like. It looks like everywhere Islam's ever gone, you fuckwits, because they destroy everything,
yeah,
everything,
yeah.
everything culturally, everything genetically, because they all are inbred. They are a complete pestilence everywhere they go,
Mhm.
everywhere they
Well,
go. And
no,
there's no exception. There is no exception.
now, to be fair though, when the Byzantines absorbed them and it became what we call the Ottoman Empire, it was
Yep.
better for a while
Well, yeah,
because
because they would
those
slaughter them.
Greeks, yeah, they're the Greeks of Byzantine. But
Yeah,
I mean, it got a little better. But then the Ottoman Empire or the Tartarian Empire, the Byzantine Empire, whatever the hell you want to call it, collapsed.
I like that we call it the Ottomans because it makes me think of a footrest. The footrest
Well,
empire.
it's the best thing they ever created. Let's be fair. But no, I mean, so there was a couple 100-year period where it was better, kinda,
Yeah,
sorta, but that didn't last. And whatever happened 400 years ago, whatever cataclysm, I attest that was in something happened in America, North America. something happened.
Probably.
And that caused this, the little winter, the little ice age, and just everything collapsed, and they collapsed. And since then, you just had 400 years of rampant
You know what?
Islam without any guidance.
I'm just gonna blame Islam again because why not?
Sure, why not?
Why
Why
not?
not? Um,
We don't got any better options, so
yeah,
why not? So they did something. They did some fuckery, and that was it.
yeah.
That was the end.
I would love if someone could figure out what the cataclysm was. I really feel it was in America because
I bet
y-
you they know.
they might, but I don't know, right?
Yeah, I bet you they
Um,
know, and that's one of one of them deep secrets. Probably got something to do with giants, because the giant thing's weird. I'm not going to get on the tangent again,
yeah,
but it's weird, and it's the
it
same thing
is,
with that.
but
Another thing that's just weird. Why don't we talk about these obvious things?
true. But I have a feeling that had more. What happened in North America was some kind of cataclysm, like a volcano or a space rock or something.
Maybe that's where the
Something like
giant
that
thing's
is what
from.
happened. And the reason I say this is for several reasons. Um, it absolutely shattered the Tartarian or Ottoman Empire, 100%. It shattered
Mhm,
them. And we know they were in the Americas, at least in the West Coast, right?
mhm.
And it just, all those refugees coming in, and they had fighting all around anyway because everyone wanted freedom from them, and it just collapsed, right? And with the Europeans coming in, they found empty buildings, they found empty stuff, and they found a Mad Max scene where all these Indians living like freaking barbarian savages, right? Whereas just south, you had full on cities, right? Fully
That's right.
functional cities just down in Mexico and beyond.
Bro,
Uh,
there's towns, there's little towns, and by town, American style towns, like maybe 1,000, 5,000 people, give or
yeah,
take, with buildings in them that would have taken cities, big cities, a decade to build, and nobody knows why they're there. They don't have records of really, I mean they
yeah,
do, but
no,
they're
they
not
don't.
very accurate records, let's be honest. They're just there. And now they're the courthouses and the whatever. And I mean
Oh
these
yeah.
things are cathedrals.
They
They're
are.
huge.
And if you look at the record, it says they built it in a year. We can't even
Yeah.
do that now.
No.
But
There's in
no, it
fact
this
there's one in Ohio. In
oh,
the
there's
city,
many
it's a
in
city
Ohio.
now. Well, there's one that I used to see every day. There's a city, it's a city now, but obviously it wasn't. Bowling Green, Ohio, just to the south of me. Their courthouse is massive.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
beautiful
it's like
too.
6 stories. It's huge. It's
Yeah.
got a clock tower in it. I said, "What the hell?
Yeah, no,
How did
that's
they
a
build this here?"
it's all that Ottoman Byzantine stuff, dude. Like I said, I
It's
think they were
wild.
across the entire continent actually.
Probably.
It's made concentrated in the West, but because they came in across China, of course. But the reason I say that also is the Europeans were the least affected, so it wasn't near them. They still were affected, but it was far from them, so they kind of escaped it. So I just think something happened in America, but it doesn't matter. Getting off track. The point being is the collapse of that empire is what let the Islam all the places they were without leadership, and they just fell more and more and more into confusion and apathy.
Yep.
And in this by the 1970s, you started getting these radicals coming up and like, no, we're going to try to rebuild it. Okay, noble idea. That's not a bad idea. But their idea of rebuilding it was to resort to, I don't even know if we've had a period in human history that was as barbaric and women hating as what we have now. I don't know that we
Well,
did.
not maybe not the women hating part, but the barbarism. I mean, old Changus was pretty barbaric.
Well, yeah,
He
but
was
those
pretty
were
brutal.
not his people. Who cares, right?
Well, that's true. They weren't even people in his eyes, so that's
Yeah.
true.
Well, you know how these military leaders and barons, because this is what he was, he's like a baron of the Altai Mountain region, right?
Right.
They have very little care for these subordinates under them, dude.
Mhm.
Especially if they're foreigners. Look at these monkey men on their horses.
Riding around.
God, you know, it's too
Filth.
bad Attila wasn't more successful because at least
Mm,
the Attila was the man of the people, right?
he was.
You know.
Scourge of God.
hmm Well, he was Gog Magog, right?
Yep. Just ask him. He'll
Yep,
tell you.
he would.
No, Attila's he's another one of those guys who everybody's heard the name Attila, but very few people can tell you why.
Yeah, no,
One of
they haven't
those things,
studied
like,
it.
he was just yeah, they just kinda push him. He existed, he did a thing. It's like Charlemagne. Very few people can tell you they know the name, but they don't know why. They know he was a great leader in Europe. That's it.
Oh, he was a
They have
butcher
no
is what
idea.
he was.
Yes, he
But
was. But I mean,
you know,
great
his
leader,
sword
butcher.
is
Yeah,
his sword is actually in a German museum. That's kind of
that's
cool.
cool.
Yeah, it is cool.
Mhm.
But well, Charlemagne, I don't know who we should hate most, him or Attila. I mean, Charlemagne kind of put a lot of trouble on Europe because at
Oh, yeah.
that time with Charlemagne, keep in mind the Catholic Church was on its knees,
Yeah,
right?
he saved them.
He's the one that saved them. He's the one that brought it back, and of course the chaos and the hate and just the absolute depravity of the Catholic Church was after that fact. He
And
revived a monster that he shouldn't have.
he became the emperor of Rome for it, in
He
fact.
did. He did. Yeah.
Got the Roma Invictus.
But I mean, it took what until the 16th, 1600s to we got that yoke off us.
Mhm. And well, you say it's off us, but I don't know if you talked about it yet, but we have our first American, Chester. America's taking over the world, is what I'm saying to you.
Pope
We're taking
Leo.
over everything, even the Vatican. We're
What
taking it all.
what can you tell me? I don't know anything about the guy. Can you tell me
I don't
something
know
about him?
anything about it. I know he's from Chicago. Apparently, he's another lib like
Of
Francis was,
course
but
he's
not
from
maybe not as
Chicago. Of course he's
maybe
from
not as
Chicago.
bad. Of course he is. Yeah, maybe not
Is
as
he an
bad as Francis.
Italian?
I don't know. No, I think his last name's Provist. Robert Provist, I think is his real name,
Oh.
or something like that. So no, I don't think he's Italian at all. It's that's actually it's. I mean, I don't know anything about the guy. He might be just as bad or worse than Francis. I have no idea otherwise. But the fact that he's American, I'll take it
Yeah, okay.
because America's
Um
number one.
I
We're
did
taking it
hear
all.
I did hear him speaking Italian to the
Well,
Italian
he probably
peoples.
does.
Of course he does. They all
Yeah.
do. It's a requirement, I'm sure. But
Hmm.
it's not like I'm fluent in any language other than English, but I am capable. But my Italian understanding is good enough that even I could hear the accent.
Hmm.
Yeah. He's
Well,
a
I'd
White
imagine he
Sox
was
fan. Oh,
chosen.
that's a major problem. He's a quarter
Imagine
Italian.
he
Of
was
course he is.
chosen. I would imagine he was chosen to because, well, whether anyone likes it or not, English has won, and it is taking over the entire world very, very obviously.
Oh
Pretty
yeah.
much already has. So they want an English speaking pope, and an American pope is good because they're trying to grow the church here in America. They also have a lot of a lot of baggage with all the raping of the kids that they did
Well,
that they swept under the rug.
yeah, well, if they would stop with, actually being Catholics and start being Catholics and stop with their nonsense, it might help. I mean,
It
that's
could
the
help.
problem with the Catholic Church. They haven't been Catholic since the 70s. They don't even believe in
Correct.
God.
Correct.
I mean, what the hell? How could you have the Vatican, the leader of the Catholic people, and not believe in God? But that's how
Listen,
it's been
I
since
will
the
get a hold
70s,
of
dude.
Mel, and we can talk about Mel's dad because Mel Gibson's father, I don't know if anybody knows this, I know it, was the most prominent critic of the Vatican as a Catholic of the last 100 years. He is the most well written. He's written many books on it. There's a reason why Mel is who he is. It's because of his dad. Uh, and this gentleman had been criticizing what they call Vatican II, where they basically did what you just said, got rid of everything that made him Catholic. Uh, and he was very, very critical of it for his entire life. And I think he died like
Yeah.
he was 102 or something like
Oh,
that. He was
nice.
really old. Yeah. So Mel's going to be
Congratulations.
around a while, most likely. He's
Yeah.
got good genes. He's
Good.
got them
Get him,
longevity
Mel.
genes.
Yeah, but I mean,
They should have elected Mel. They should have quit fucking around. He's the most prominent Catholic in the world.
yeah,
They should
no,
have just made it
that would have been Pope Mel Gibson, dude. I'd
him.
become Catholic just for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But no, I mean the Vatican's so bad. They literally think that Jesus is an allegory. I'm
Hmm.
not shitting you.
Hmm.
The actual Vatican does not believe in God.
That's right.
And I don't
They have one of the
understand
largest,
this.
what's the term where evolution where it just started on its own? I can't remember. There's a term for it. They have one of the largest institutions that studies
Panspermia?
that. I can't remember what it is, but basically the idea that all of it just kind of happened, right? The
Yeah.
Big Bang just
Oh yeah.
nothing created everything from nothing. That idea,
Hmm.
um, which doesn't make any fucking sense when you think that's completely illogical.
Even
The
science
only way
thinks
for
that's stupid. Yeah.
yeah, the only way it could be true is you have to basically just give them the one miracle. Be like, all right, give us one miracle, and then you can have everything else. No, I won't give you one miracle. If there's a miracle, then there's a miracle worker. You fucks. It's that
Yeah. No,
simple.
that's true.
But anyway,
Yeah.
uh,
But keep in mind the power and the money of the Vatican, though. You have to keep this
oh,
in
they're
mind.
unbelievably powerful.
Most all the observatories on planet are owned by them.
Yep,
They
yep.
own
That's where I was going.
satellites, dude.
They are the number one scientific institution in the world.
Yep.
The Vatican.
Yep. Yep.
They, which is absolute, which is very interesting because what we call modern science was created by Catholic, or well, probably Catholics, but Christians for sure. At least in the way we have it today, through all of the scientific method, blah 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 blah. These are all things were done originally in the glory of God. That was the point. The term
Yeah.
science was coined, and the way they would say it, the way they would sell it, is to better understand God's universe, not the universe. And that has obviously been lost over the years. But my point is, it's very interesting that the Vatican, one of the oldest institutions in the world,
Yeah.
that's still going, continuous institutions, has become the premier scientific institution on the planet and abandoned pretty much all of its theology. Now they haven't abandoned it in like their what they preach, right?
Well,
They
of
still
course
preach it's
not.
all true. Yeah,
But I would say that they probably were always like this. They're just open now
probably.
about it. They probably were always that way. They're just dealing with the little peon masses with the God
Right.
thing. From day
Well, that's
one,
what
I
the
don't think
priests
they
have
believed it
always. I
anyway.
mean,
To
you
be
think the
fair,
priests at the temples in Rome actually believed in Dionysus and shit? No, no, they
well,
didn't. Maybe
dude,
the low level ones,
excuse
not
me,
them upper
I
level
would
guys.
believe in Dionysus till the day I die, sir, because
Yes, but
that
you're not
dude
a
knew how to
priest
party.
in a
No,
Roman temple.
no, you're right. No, that's true. The priests are always kind of that way. Although I say the Protestants' priesthood is probably a little bit more devout than most of at least
Absolutely.
the Christian world. Um,
Yeah.
but then again, if you look at
Well,
the
that's
Muslim world, look at what the imams do and say. Uh,
yeah.
I don't think they believe anything. They're just using the people as a weapon, and
I would
successfully
say
so.
the upper level ones,
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah,
Um, yeah, no, it's most religions are that way. They know it's hokum. And they know the smart people get to these positions of power and they realize that all of these things are created for dumb people or people of lower agency
yeah.
who can't control their own basic urges just because they can. So came up with these rules to help them do so and then promise them a nice little reward at the end.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
that's pretty much what every religion is. It's why I don't consider myself a Christian because Christianity has been that since, oh, I don't know, Jesus was killed.
Right. Right, right. Well, let me go over here and let me see if I can find this new pope. Let me just type in new pope.
I like the name. I like the name Leo though. That's good. That's good.
Did I
The
spell? I
lion.
spelled it wrong. Goodness.
How
His
did you
name
spell
is.
new and Pope
Hey
wrong?
now. Hey now. His name is
7 letters.
Robert Prevost. All right.
Prevost. Yeah, something like that.
I think I know what that means, but I'm not 100%. Oh, I found NPR. I did the good thing. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. NPR. Has he not canceled that yet?
No, no, not yet. Unfortunately.
So what do you got? Cardinal Robert Prevost becomes the first American Pope, choosing the name Leo the 14th. Ooh, you got a lot
I
of things.
appreciate the Leo. I like the Leo.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. I thought it was. It come literally from the word provost, which we use in
Yeah.
English, provost, which means simply the person put in charge of it.
Yep.
Yeah, I
Interesting.
thought it was provost, just from another language. Yeah,
We went into this weird timeline, Chester,
yeah.
with the so-called white identitarian Catholics that
Uh
are
huh.
on the internet, right? Because they're big into Catholicism for some reason, even though it's guys, it's a desert religion created by brown people. But I digress.
Mm,
Um, the Catholics, these white nationalist Catholics, were all rooting for the black guy, Robert
hmm.
Serra. I think his name's Robert Serra. He's a cardinal, and he's like, I believe he's from the Congo or something, but he's he's black as coal, but
You know,
he's like hardcore old school traditionalist
oh,
Catholic.
dude, put him in
Uh,
there. That'd have been great.
yeah, that's who they wanted. And I'm like, what? Where am I? What timeline did I walk into? Why are all these so-called pro-white people just all about the black dude? They get the black guy in there. Let's black up the church. Let's black it up.
Why not, dude? There's a lot of black people in the Catholic Church. Um, let's see here. He speaks 7 languages. Good for him, dude.
That's
Um,
impressive.
and that's a popey requirement. Yeah, well, to be fair, a lot of people in the world speak multiple languages. You're just American.
Well, we don't have to. We speak the correct language.
Right. And to be fair, Alan, I've heard him. He speaks some does speak some Spanish. But most people do. The average European speaks 5 languages, right?
Something like I don't know if that's
Yeah.
true anymore, but it used to be for sure.
I think it probably is. But of course Europe isn't. That's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
Anyway, where was I? We got this popey guy come in. We'll see what he does. The last guy was the most anti-Christian thing I've ever seen. That
Yes.
guy. He was bad.
Remember when they commissioned him to sit in front of a obvious depiction of Satan?
Oh
Like, what are
yeah.
we doing here?
Well, dude, the whole
What are we
Vatican is all Satan shit everywhere, dude.
what are we doing here,
I
guys?
don't
How
know.
I don't understand how Catholics could defend that. Like that's pretty clearly satanic imagery. I'm just saying.
Oh
From
yeah.
an outside looking, I'm not a Catholic, never will be a Catholic because that religion's hokum. But but what are we doing here?
Yeah. Well, no,
What are we doing?
the entirety of the Vatican, well, I shouldn't say the entirety. The public access area of the Vatican is actually has a virtual tour online. You can go and
Mhm.
look at every part of it. You can walk down every hallway. Just go look at the art, dude. It's very, very much the revelation,
Yeah,
without question.
which is interesting.
Yeah.
Why are they so obsessed with the end of the world, Christians?
Well, they're a death cult. Let's be fair.
I mean, one of Jesus's only things he said not to do explicitly was worry about the end of the world.
Yeah.
He said it explicitly.
Well,
It's
yeah.
not something you're supposed to worry about. Only God the Father knows. He didn't even know. He said, I don't
Well,
know. Only
it's
God the
it's
Father
the
knows.
human nature wanting to get one up on somebody, right? It's
Okay.
that human nature is what it is. We know something you don't know, and we're prepared to die. Excellent.
Okay, can you do that without me? Can you just do that yourself?
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
okay.
some
Kill
of
you
them had,
as much as you'd like. As much
Jones
as you'd like. Go ahead.
Jonestown went and did that.
Yeah. Just leave me out of it.
Yeah.
Why do I gotta be dragged into your mess?
Mm. One of the biggest
Uh,
bombs in history. I can't even remember the name of the movie, but one of the biggest bombs in history was actually made by the Moonies. In
mm,
Korea, and it has hardly. It's weird because it's about Koreans, surviving the Chinese nonsense, and I think they might have thrown a Japanese in there for a good measure. But mainly the whole cast is mainly white dudes, and I'm like,
mhm.
hold on a minute, but I can't even remember the name of it, but it's so obscure. But it's
It's
one of
interesting how,
one of the biggest bombs of all time.
we have the Catholics, obviously, the Catholic Church. They claim that they're descended straight from Peter, which they're not, but they like to pretend. Um, they've been around for a very, very long time, obviously. Obviously, the various other forms of the Eastern religions have been around for a very long time.
Mhm.
Uh, Islam's been around for about 1,000 years, give or take, depending on where you demarcate the line. Judaism's been around for about the same amount of time. But my point where I'm going with this is we have all these grand religions, all these grand, powerful religions out there. And yet, not a single one of them, not a one of them, makes the world a better place.
Unfortunately, I mean, I bet you if you go down to the ground level, there's some good Catholic work being done.
Yes, at the ground level there is,
Yeah,
but that's not the religion that's doing it. That's the individuals
that's the
doing it. That's the
people. Yeah,
people who are taking the message of, let's say, Jesus Christ or of the Buddha or of whoever and actually applying it
sure,
because they actually genuinely believe it. I'm
sure.
talking about the organizations. The people at the top, they clearly have done nothing for the world but make it worse.
Well, seeing as we're talking about the Catholics here, there is an
Yeah.
interesting connection to our modern political situation because, to give credit to the Catholics, even though they
Mhm.
separated from the Eastern Orthodox, the Eastern Church, Byzantine
Mhm.
Church. Um, they still kept in communication. And when the Byzantines begged for help, please help us, these Muslims are murdering us. Of course, they weren't Muslims at the time, but the Saracens are killing us.
Mhm.
The Catholics responded. And they sent
They did.
in the Crusaders. Of course, that's where the Crusaders come from. The Byzantines
Right.
begged for help, and the Catholics like, okay, we'll come help you. And
Yep.
the reason I mention that is because the Pope, who called the people to action, this is where he used the word Deus Vult. That's where it
Mhm.
was first used. And of course, we know Pete Hegseth, which is under constant fire, which I don't get. He has that
He's
tattoo of
effective.
the Jerusalem cross and Deus Vult. It's talking about responding to the request from the Byzantines to help save them from the Saracen, right?
Right.
That's where it
Right.
comes from. That's what it is. But why do they hate Pete Hegseth so much? I mean, the troops love him. He's
That
actually
would be why
been
right there.
in action. I mean, he's an actual soldier.
Well, there's a few reasons I would gather. One, they think he's lowly because he dares to have been, a war fighter himself and not kiss their asses. He doesn't kiss their rings, so
So he's not a
they immediately
politician. Okay.
they put him lower class. You see, he's one of the low people. They go fight the wars. We don't want to look at him. There's those ones, the real aristocratic cunts. Those ones who look at him like that. The people you went to school with, Chester. Those type of people.
Yeah.
Uh, the Then there's the others who realize he's incredibly effective and he's an incredibly charismatic speaker. He's really really good looking. He's tall. He's fit. These are dangerous aesthetics. And the people who control the world, the real ones, they understand how dangerous aesthetics are. The reason why they turned, we're going to veer a bit, turn Mr. Hitler into Satan himself
Right.
is because the aesthetic of him, the appearance, the propaganda, if you will, of him being Satan himself is more important than the reality. Because most people have
Sure.
absolutely no idea what happened in World War II or what Hitler even actually believed.
Or
But
even
they
where
know
Germany is.
yes, but they know exactly what the Satan Hitler believed, right? He was
Yeah.
evil. He
Sure.
was
Sure.
pure, unrepentant evil. So the aesthetics matter. And the fact that Trump has surrounded himself with very aesthetically correct people this time is important. A guy like a Hesketh, how do you say that name?
Hegseth.
Uh, he has very, like you said, the troops love him. The lower people, the plebs, if you will,
Hmm.
love him. That's very Caesarian energy, and they don't like that. They don't like that one bit because the one thing that the establishment has feared and always will fear until the day that everything burns in unholy fire is a man of history. Now, I don't know if he is one. He could be, but he might. Trump definitely is. He might be. And if he is, he's got all the tools to be a problem. He's got a devout faith, so much so he branded his own flesh with it.
He did.
He's got people. He can lead men. Men respect him. This is something they
He's
tried to
also
have and they
loyal.
can't. He's like, oh, well, which is why they respect him. This is something these people wish they were, and they never will be because they live in a delusion that everybody's just this blank slate, everybody's equal. The only thing you have is something somebody else gave you. That's not totally true for everybody. Some people are just better than you. And because of that, they can lead men and get men to do like they can do like Napoleon and take over a country twice and get men to just murder thousands and thousands and millions of people and charge into gunfire just because they love him, like
Oh yeah.
Hitler did, like
Like a
Napoleon
Patton.
did,
Yeah.
like George Washington did, like a Patton did. That is something they can't buy. You can't
Yeah.
buy loyalty like that. You just can't. So if he has it, and I think he does, that terrifies the shit out of the system on a primal level because the system, by its nature, is run by cowards.
What
They're
was
cowards.
what was the oh, I guess I'd say one thing. It's funny for with Hegseth because his name is so unintimidating. It's a
Yes.
Norwegian, but set
Yes.
just meaning settlement or homestead village. But Heg
Yeah.
just means heather, as in the
Heather.
plant. It's not very intimidating name. But
No.
one of the things that I thought was interesting was they were really harping on the alcohol thing, and it's like you do
He's a
realize
soldier.
Congress has its own bar,
Yeah, it has its own bar, and I guarantee you, at least
which delivers.
at minimum, 40 to 50, maybe 60% of them are high on cocaine on a daily basis.
It
What are
seems
we
so.
talking about? What are we talking about? Why are we like he's drinking some alcohol because he's seen some shit? All right, leave him alone. Leave him alone. Anybody who knows a veteran, like a genuine one who's actually seen and done some shit, sometimes they drink, and that's okay.
Sometimes,
You
you
gotta
know,
let them. You gotta let them.
it was interesting with my dad because he was in the shit for his whole life, right?
Yeah.
He made that choice because clearly he has the mentality for it. But I've never seen the
Mhm.
man drink ever.
Hey, some men don't. That's the dangerous ones who just they just
Built,
handle it.
yeah, for
They
it.
just they're
Yeah,
built for war. There are
yeah,
men who are built for war, and
yeah.
I think Pete might be one of them, and I think that's why they're terrified of him. I genuinely do. I don't think it's anything other. I don't think it's because of what he believes or his policy he's going to implement. It's a primal fear when they look at him. The same thing that happens with JD Vance, but in a different way. Because Vance is similar. He's comes from very poor, built himself
Oh,
up,
I
was a
think JD's
soldier.
way more dangerous.
Oh, I do too, because he's much more cerebral. You see, Pete's much more of a bulldog. He's much more like a Patton. Vance is much more like an Augustus, an Octavian. He's much more cerebral. He's probably a genius if you actually got his IQ records. He's incredibly smart, and that is that. Well, don't worry, they'll turn on him too. They've been trying to.
Yeah.
They've been trying to, but he's too good. They can't
He's
corner him.
really, really good at diplomatic speech. He's really good
Yes,
at it, JD. Which
yeah.
is what you need for that position. Trump sucks at that.
Yes, he does. He's not very good at diplomacy.
No,
He's
he's
phenomenal at speaking to the people. When he's
yeah,
speaking to
he's
his
good with that.
people, nobody's better.
Yeah.
But when it comes to speaking to other people, well, listen, he's not exactly great at it. But he doesn't have to be. He has enough of his own people. And now again, like I said, he surrounded himself with the right people by and large. There's a few that I'm like, but by and large, everybody's been a rock star so far, except for a couple of them. We won't get into them. But nobody can sit there and tell me they're not unbelievably impressed by Marco Rubio.
Oh,
That's an amazing pick.
Dude, what did I
He's been
say
killing
day
it.
one? What did I say day
Marco's been
one?
killing it.
He has.
Killing it.
I'm saying that's the dude to watch. Marco
Yep.
Rubio, he's going to be an absolute slayer. I do think the pretty one is the one you were alluding to.
Yes.
But Trump is what he is, man. We all know if you don't get it done, you're fired.
Yes.
You don't play
Yes. Which
games.
is why he surrounded himself with people who are one very loyal to him. Some he's known like Bobby Kennedy, he's known his basically his whole life. Two, that he knows are not yes men. Right?
Yeah.
Bobby Kennedy's a lot of things, but I don't think he's Trump's yes
Oh
man.
no,
And
he's
I think
not.
Trump
Without we
appreciates
know
that.
he's not. Yeah. But I hope he has
And he
success. I really hope Bobby has success
He
there.
so far he's been making moves that I greatly approve of. Now there's more he can do, and I'm sure he will. But I mean, getting the
We're
dyes out
only
of our
100
food,
days
that's
in.
awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
getting the dyes out of our food, that's awesome. They've done a bunch of other stuff too. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's all the correct things to do.
Yeah.
There's no reason the richest country in the history of the world, that is easily the most powerful militarily that we've ever known, recorded anyway. There's no excuse for our people to be this out of shape, fat, and chronically ill. What are we doing?
Now I say I
Why?
agree with you, Alan. I agree. Rubio's a freaking rock star, dude. Um,
Yes.
yeah, no, I know what you're saying, and it's kind of a little bit unfair for Bondi and Patel,
Yeah.
because Trump. I know this might upset some people. He doesn't care about the Epstein,
No,
Diddy,
he don't.
the Kennedy. He doesn't care about that shit at all. He's like, yeah, the people want to give it to him. He's not even looking at it.
I'll tell you
Um,
the truth. I'll tell you the truth. Most of you don't care either. You think you
True.
do, but as soon as the real truth comes out, you're gonna go, "Oh yeah, I knew it." Or, "Oh, who cares?"
Right.
The reaction is gonna be the exact same. The people who already are on it are gonna be on it, and the people who aren't gonna care.
Right.
It's why I don't. As much as it sucks to realize, I came to this realization when I watched my uncle, who has passed away now. He was in. I've been told this story before. He was in Vietnam twice. He
Yeah.
nearly died over there many times.
Yeah.
And when he came back, he was a changed man. He had PTSD or whatever it was called at the time, shell shock
Shell
actually.
shock.
Because
Yeah.
yeah, and he had it his whole life. He shook really bad from it his whole life until the day he died. Uh, and I told him in 2005 when they declassified the Gulf of Tonkin incident that did not happen. It
Yeah.
simply did not happen. It was a
Right.
lie. That means that the war was a complete fabrication. There was no justification for it. He just literally looked at me and shrugged his shoulders. My point is, if he isn't upset about it, other people aren't going to be upset about it either. They just don't care about the truth like they think they do. They want to know the truth because they're, they have that itch. But then once they get it, what do you do with it? Like, if let's say tomorrow we found out that George W. Bush was not only informed about 9/11, he actually planned it, like some people, which is funny. They actually planned the whole deal, right? They planned every bit of it. It was a complete government op. Let's say we found out with irrefutable proof tomorrow. You think anything would happen?
No.
No, nothing. Nothing would happen. Now, he might go down, maybe, possibly, but so. That's not going to bring back all those people who died. It's not going to bring back the 3,000 Americans who died on that day. It's not going to bring back the millions of Middle Easterners who have died since. Nothing is, at the end of the day, it's just not going to change anything. So, really, this is what Trump's mentality clearly is. Yeah, that shit sucks. 2020 was dog shit. Everybody knows it. Everybody knows it. That all sucks. We can't change that now. But what we can do is make sure it doesn't happen again. We can fix the problem for the future. That's what Trump's been focused on. Just today, he said tomorrow he's going to sign an executive order and try to get Congress to pass some kind of laws so he can sign them, the sons of bitches. He signed 5 things in 100 days. That's the worst since 1950. What are we doing, Congress? What are we doing?
Yeah, they're really
Why aren't we
dragging their
rapid
feet.
firing legislation at him? We got the majority. Do it. Send it.
They
Anyway,
do this all the time, dude.
he's going to sign an executive order tomorrow, which is going to dramatically lower the cost of prescription drugs in the United States of America. He said between 30 to 80%, if not more,
Nice.
depending on the drug, of course.
Well, unless you're in California.
There's no reason, none, that the American taxpayer, the American citizen, should have to subsidize everybody else's medicine. Sorry, rest of the world, we're broke. Daddy's out of money. So daddy's going to have to take care of his own house for a while. That's just the way it is. It's one of the reasons why we got to fix the immigration system. We got to fix it. It's got to be completely overhauled. It's one of the reasons why Doge is such an important idea, even if it doesn't actually accomplish much. But the idea of it is very important. The mimetic power of it is important because now you see all over different states are doing the same thing. That's a good thing. That's a cascading effect.
Yeah.
That's what you want to see.
Yeah.
Now in my state, because Florida just did it, they just got rid of property tax in Florida. I believe it was Florida.
Yeah, Florida was a lot
Ohio,
about that, yeah.
they're trying to get it would be on the thing for the people to vote for, an amendment to our Constitution to outlaw property tax in the whole state.
Yeah.
It'd be gone.
No,
See
dude,
ya.
property
Get it out of
tax,
here.
death tax is ridiculous. It's
Yes.
outrageously evil shit.
Yes. I mean,
End of
think about it
conversation.
this way. Think about it this way. Somebody's in their 70s. They paid their house off 20 years ago, right? They paid their mortgage off in their 50s. That's just hype there's a lot of people like this. They're in their 70s, they're in their 80s, and then the government comes knocking on their door one day. This has literally happened in Michigan, just over the line from me. Government came knocking on the door saying, "We're going to have to take your house because you haven't paid your taxes." The lady ended up owing only like $20 in taxes once all the nonsense that knocks it off came in, and they were still going to take her house over $27. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? That's just evil. There's no other word for it. That's just wrong. Somebody just give these fuckers $27 and tell them to get the hell out of here. What are we doing?
Yeah.
$27.
Yeah,
For
no,
crying
but
out loud.
that shit happens all the time. And usually what they'll do in that situation is they'll often send some minority because they're hating on them because it's an old white lady, right?
Yep.
You think it's a joke.
This one
I'm
was
not
actually
joking.
this one was an old black lady, and they sent a younger black lady to give her the news.
Fair enough.
And she was like, but you're right though, it usually is that way. But she was like, she was just completely dumbfounded. Like, are you serious?
Well,
$27?
if I was sent to do that as the worker, I would have just paid it.
Yeah, just be like, here, what are we doing? Like, why are we messing with this old lady? Leave her alone. What are you doing?
Yeah.
It's
But
so
that's
property tax is just another term for indentured servitude.
it is.
That's all
It's
it is.
the insidiousness of the Democratic Party is what it is.
Yeah.
But it is disgusting. It should be dropped everywhere. The simple fact of the matter is, having sales tax is fine.
Yes.
I have no problem with that.
Consumption tax.
Consumption tax, but other than that, there should be no taxation. Now,
This is why I agree. And it used to be the law of the land, by the way,
Sure.
in America. There were no unapportioned taxes, which basically means if it didn't have a direct purpose where you could track it from point A to point B, the money's collected here, it goes to here for this purpose. You weren't allowed to collect it. in the country. It was just not allowed, especially at the federal level. Well, then we had lovely 1913 changed all that
Yeah.
and basically said the government can take taxes for whatever they want, whenever they want, however they want, and fuck you. That's why.
Yeah,
Wait a
no,
minute.
that's true. It's true. Now they used to have things like if you had to register, some, mule or some kind of registration, like today a car,
Yeah.
that
Yes.
to cover processing fees, that's fine. That's not a tax. That's simply paying for the thing. Um,
Hmm.
but um, but yeah, no, it's outrageous, and I'm glad to see it is starting to back up. Hopefully, that will rub off on Japan because they have every tax that has ever been conceived by man.
They have a lot of bureaucracy, I'm
Oh
told.
my
A lot of
goodness, dude,
bureaucracy.
it's
Yeah.
outrageous. Yeah, there's a lot of nonsense. Where else? What I was talking about? Let's see. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, there's not a lot going on in the world that you don't know about that is necessary. Like I said, Southeast Asians, they are seeing the Muslims must be acting up in their countries because several of the leadership over there has said, knock it off.
Yeah.
So, and they're not playing games with it, and that's good because we know how it can get. But they get riled up and fired up, right? And it's probably this many things that are going on with Iran and Pakistan, I'm assuming, is what's riling them up. But of course, I love that instantly India's the bad guy. Did you see that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Why do all of these lefties constantly
Mm.
supporting the Muslims when the Muslims would throw you off a frickin' building, dude?
Or behead you. One or
Yeah,
the other.
if you're lucky.
Whichever's easier. Yeah. I genuinely it's com it it's a mind boggle. Now there's some in America I can kind of understand it because usually the lefty organizations just hate white people. That's it. That's really it. When you get distill it all the way down, they just hate white people, white men specifically. They really hate white men and they have Islam equals brown in their mind. But then if you say that, you're racist even though that's how they behave. But
Right.
whatever. Uh, but the reality of it is it's one of those things where this is why you don't let these people have any influence or power over society because they're incredibly short-sighted and naive. They're
Right.
also just stupid. They're
They
just
are
dumb. They
stupid.
think they're incredibly smart. They do. They genuinely believe that they're smarter than everybody else. They have everything figured out. They have the high IQs. Okay, You're supporting the most ravenous ideology ever.
Yeah.
Not even debatable.
Yeah.
Ever.
Well,
It would be better if they were just imperialists. If they were like the Romans, they'd be better. They'd be
yeah.
better. But they're
Well,
not. They're far worse.
speaking of stupid, there's this lady named Navarro. She's on The View, but she also does like a CNN show. I don't know
Yeah.
her first name. I can't remember it, but Navarro. She's like
Yeah.
Latin America, and she always puts on the fake
Yes.
accent. Um,
Yes.
and she's talking to this guy next to her, and I don't care what they were talking about, but she said, "Well, you need to remember your white privilege as being a white man in this country." And I'm looking at it, I'm like, "All right, lady, you have the same skin tone as that dude. You have brown eyes. You are a white lady until
That's right.
conveniently you're not. And trust me,
That's
the
correct.
black
Yeah.
dude on the other side of the table from you sees you as a white woman,
That's right. Push comes to
100%."
shove.
But it was
You're a white girl.
so stupid. You're exactly the same color, same eye color. You are a white woman. Shut up. God.
What's amazing is how many of these Hispanics, that made up ethnicity, how many of those don't realize that their entire culture is effectively white. They speak Chester.
Yeah.
They speak Spanish. Uh,
Yeah.
I hate
Which
to
is a
break it to them.
European language.
That's a white language
Yeah.
derived from Latin,
Yeah.
which is also a white language.
Yeah.
Or they speak Portuguese, which, wait a minute, hold on, wait, where's Portugal? Right next to Spain on the
Yeah,
same
Europe.
peninsula.
Yeah. Now,
Europe.
now I do understand that there are some Mexicans who are definitely mixed heavily with the black and the Indian
Yes.
population, and they're not. I wouldn't consider them. If they said they weren't white, I wouldn't argue with them. Uh, but
Right.
um, but yeah, I just see so much of that nonsense. And first of all, who gives a
Well, even
shit?
if they're
You're
not, even if
American.
they're biologically they're not, their culture is. It's derived very heavily from European culture.
Yeah.
Now, there's other influences in it too, of course, but it's still. I mean, they're Catholics for crying out loud. What are we talking about? Like, it's so ridiculous that they pretend that they're not white or of white, you know,
Well,
affectation
La Raza.
when they are. Yeah,
Yeah.
Ridiculous. Ridiculous.
Yeah, no, she's really
Like,
stupid, Ellen. I know. But I couldn't believe her sitting there saying that. Because it's like you literally look identical to the guy you're saying has white privilege. Identical. And of course, I really wish
mm,
some dude, because it needs to be a dude in this case, would
yeah,
stand up and say, you do realize the worst possible privilege situation you can have in America is a white heterosexual man.
correct.
White heterosexual men have the least privilege of any
That's right.
person in America. That's the
Correct.
truth.
It's not even really debatable because here's how you know it's not debatable because as soon as you say that to one of these people, they have no actual argument. They just start screeching.
Yeah.
They "Wee,"
Yeah.
right? They just start saying things about stuff that either isn't
Later,
true or
Tank.
is only true or is only true contextually, like well, but black people get killed by cops and harassed by cops, while more
Do
white
they?
people get killed by cops.
Yeah, more
Uh,
non-black people. The blacks are actually quite
more
hesitant to enforce against black people.
more unarmed white people typically get killed by cops.
Oh yeah.
Uh, the reason why you see more black people engaging with police is because they're committing more crime than the other people by a dramatic amount.
Oh yeah.
So of course the police are going to go, "What's he doing?" Because why wouldn't you? Like that's just rational. It's just like if I walk into the hood, right? I walk into the blackest neighborhood you got, they're immediately going to go, "What's white boy doing here?" Of
Oh
course
yeah.
they're going to think that.
And they're
Well,
gonna
why
come
wouldn't they
up and
think
ask
that?
you, why is white boy here?
Mhm.
And then you
I've
tell
been
'em,
in that
I am
situation.
here for the chitlin and greens.
Where's the black women at? Thank you.
Yeah, where's the black women at? To be fair
No, I've
though,
been
they're
in that
gonna have good
situation. I
food up
used
in there.
to. They will. I. No, they're usually chill if you go during the day. It's when you go at night that's when it gets crooked. But but no, I used to do it all the time because I used to go into people's homes and repair appliances. So
Sure.
sometimes that's where I had to go, and I'd get the looks, the side eyes, or they're just straight staring at you like you're gonna, I don't know. I don't know what they think you're gonna do, but apparently they think you're gonna do something. Uh, but no, it's this these arguments are not, well, they're not arguments. These things that they say, these complaints are just so silly. They're so silly because they don't really apply to anything at all. They're complete constructions that have been made up by grifters who want to grift. That's what their interest is making money. When you got guys like Al Sharpton who's never done anything of any note, he's never created anything that's made anybody's life better. He's not like an Elon Musk.
He knows how to
He's
make
not even
his
like
money.
he's not well, yes, he's not even like the guy who founded uh what was the name? Godfather's Pizza, Mr. Steele, nice black American. He's done nothing when it comes to industry or in any way made the world a better place, and yet he's a multimillionaire who lives in a penthouse, I believe, in Manhattan,
Yeah,
uh, which probably costs more money than either of us will ever see.
that's probably
So
true.
this these sorts of people want to push these narratives because it makes them a lot of money, not because it's true.
Sure.
It's pure capitalism. I
It is.
appreciate the capitalism. I do. I just wish you would stop using, my peoples as your scapegoat for the problems created by your people.
Yeah,
We
well,
didn't force nobody forced you into the ghetto.
it's
In
too
fact,
easy,
when you
dude.
moved in, it wasn't a ghetto. Your people turned it into a ghetto. That's the truth. I watched it happen from the time I was a child, where my grandfather's neighborhood went from one of the best in the city to one of the worst.
Yeah. Actually, one of the best comebacks I've seen was some white YouTuber guy, and they were having a conversation that was about the black white thing,
Yep.
and he said something along the lines of, "Well, you do realize the hood rats are the ones making trouble for everybody," which is a fair point. And the guy's
Correct.
like, well, "So why don't you just say the N word then? Because that's what you want to say." And the guy looked at him and says, "Hood rat's a hood rat. What color does that equal?" Right? Or
Doesn't
something to
matter.
that
Yeah.
effect. And the guy's like, "Oh no, you just want to use the N word." And he's like, "So," and he had the perfect response because he said, "So what you're telling me is that only black people can be hood rats."
I can assure you that's not the case.
It's certainly not the case. They come in all colors, shapes, and sizes.
Having worked in the ghetto for
Oh
many
yeah,
years, I can assure you that is
absolutely,
not the case.
100%.
I have
Um,
watched, Chester, with my own two eyeballs. I have watched grown white women, and these were really grown white women, with very little clothing, far less clothing than they should be wearing, walk a dog with an electrical cord as a leash.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
I've seen what we would call powerful, powerful. I won't
Powerful
say the word
ghetto.
on YouTube. Powerful ghetto, very powerful. Like you can smell it. It's so powerful. Um, this behavior is is purely degeneracy. Is really all it is, and it's there's the sad thing is the Black American and really just the blacks in general all over the world, the Negroids as they're called, have a propensity for it at a higher level than just about than everybody else. And
Hmm.
the fact that we don't have those conversations because it's mean is the reason why it keeps getting worse. The blacks used to have those conversations, and that's why it was better because they'd
Yeah.
have them amongst themselves. They
Yeah.
would put their
And
correct their
there are
shit.
some that are trying to solve it, but there's other issues. We have troubles with trying to, bring in, these, Muslims from the Muslim world into the West, and they're not compatible. You can have a lot of other problems, like for instance, Chinese. If you bring
Yep,
any Chinese person, no matter how good their intentions, they are owned by the Chinese government, and the Chinese government will get them to do their bidding because they have
yes,
family, you see. And the CCP has zero efficacy when it comes to threatening the lives of grandma and grandpa. Zero.
none. They don't care. Do
Um,
not care.
so having any person from China, I'm not talking about an American, talk about from China, any, they are a viable threat. That's just the
Yes.
reality of it, dude. It just is what
If
it
they have
is.
if they have connections back there still,
They
yes.
even if they don't, it doesn't matter. They will be coerced. They will be because
And it's
America doesn't police the spying, the Chinese spying going on America. They don't do it.
which is a serious problem and needs
Serious. It's very
massively
serious.
addressed.
Yeah.
But the point that we're making is these problems that we have are we all have to pretend like they're not real, or else somebody might call us a mean word like racist.
Hmm.
Even though it has nothing to do at all with the racial genome within these people and everything to do with other factors. And the way we know that it has nothing to do with the racial genome, because if it did, they would all be this way.
Hmm.
But they're not. In fact, I would say only about 20, maybe 30% of them are this way. So that tells me that it's not something that can't be fixed. It is something that can be fixed.
I got a
Uh,
question. How come
yeah,
this Catholic dude here on the right has got one of the little Jewish hats on?
they wear those a lot now. It's very odd. The
Yeah.
Catholics, the cardinals, and them. Uh,
They got
I
the
don't
yarmulkes.
know why, but
It's
there's
weird.
there's theories. There's theories that the Catholic Church has been completely co-opted by Zionist influences,
Mm.
and that would might explain why
I
they wear
it
their little
explained the
hats.
secularism quite a bit, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway, let's go ahead and we could go on this conversation forever. Let's go ahead and see what we got. Let's start it with that.
Hang on a second. I am in my kitchen. Go ahead and read it.
Okay. Um, basically, we have ourselves a new statue in New York. She's a plus size lady.
She is
She's
indeed.
supposed to represent all women in America, although she is a very large black lady. So, okay. She has the resting bitch face. I have to give the guy credit. He got that down, dude. He did a good
He
job. It's
nailed it.
actually a good
He nailed it.
sculpture. The resting
Yeah.
bitch face, the attitude, I don't care what you got to say. I'm going to deal with you, white man. It's kind of perfect. And of course, there are many reasons why this particular statue was put in Times Square. But the main response from the artist was, "We need more representation. There are too many white men around." Like, okay, well, let's see the white men that this statue is trying to, deal with. This is a nondescript Letitia. Oh no, sorry, it's just a nondescript woman, Letitia James. Yeah. Anyway, but let's take a look at the white men. Oh, I see. Here's one in Times Square. George Cohen. Oh, you mean the father of Broadway? The
Yeah, the
father
Jewish
of
man.
modern
Yeah,
theater? You know that guy? Yeah,
Cohen.
get him out of there. What did he do? Right? Goodness gracious. Oh, Father Duffy? Oh, no. What did he do? Oh, that's right. War. One of the highest decorated clerics in the history of our country. How dare he have a statue? I mean, this is a nonsense white man. This is what we need. That's what we need.
Did
We don't need these
nothing but
white men.
evil.
Yeah, this right here, this nondescript Letitia James, black lady. You know what I mean?
It's it's silliness, Chester.
It
It's just
is.
pure silliness. This weird, almost I'm not even gonna say almost, it's just straight worship at this point of blacks in much of the liberal mindset is very strange.
Yeah.
I don't know what drives them to do these things, but
Well,
it's also tiresome, you
it
know?
is,
Like, you're just like, "Ah."
but it's also half-assery because it's just kind of standing there. Whereas you look here, they're on pediments that rise it up. It says who it's for, what it's about. This could be the every woman of America. I mean, but it's just sitting flat on the ground. I mean, is what it looks like to me. Maybe it's on a little bit of a DS, but yeah, it's just more nonsense. Tear down the great statues of great humans who did great things and replace it with nondescript American woman.
Yep.
You know,
And by the way, she's not an American woman. This is another thing. Can we please stop pretending like we don't know what American means? That's not an American woman.
it's
An
not.
American woman, no, that's an African American woman or a Black American woman, or just you could say an American woman, but for that to be true, she'd have to be representative of American women. Most American women do not look like her, not even close.
No.
Most American women are white. They just are. Just the reality of it. Now that might not be the case in 40 years, but as of now, that is the case.
Hmm. Yep. Goodness gracious. But they were so upset that there's those two white men that they don't even bother to know who they are.
That's right.
These guys are truly accomplished humans, and most statues are of people who are very accomplished, right?
Right.
Um, I'm sure we there are various statues around the world of successful and influential black men. I'm sure. I'm sure there's
Mhm.
some female statues. Columbia, the goddess Columbia, is all over our country, everywhere. The probably the
Which is
most.
odd.
It's not even arguable. The most common statue we find in America is Columbia.
Yes.
Unless you want to go in the churches and find in the Catholic churches and see Jesus is still on the cross, which is always kind of weird. But there's a
Yeah.
lot of those. Um, but it's ridiculous. Mary, the mother, I'm sure, is another very frequent statue we see.
Yep.
If we add them all up, I bet you there's more female statues than male ones.
Oh, I'm sure of it.
Yeah.
I'm almost I'm I don't even know if I don't think that's controversial. It's gotta
No, but
be.
well, this person would disagree.
Well, of course. Well,
Th-
let's these people. These people are there's something else, Chester. There's
Yeah.
something else.
Yeah. Now, to be fair, unless you lived in New York like me, you wouldn't know who Father Duffy was. But everybody should know George Cohen. I mean, he's kind of famous, yeah.
Yep.
Anyway, dumbassery. It's just dumbassery. Although
Pure unfiltered dumbassery.
I have to say, even though I would have done something a little cooler, this is all too plain. The resting bitch face on the face, he did a good job.
Did a
They
good job,
they did
yeah.
a good job with that.
I like
Uh,
how even in their idealized version of a black woman, she's still,
Angry.
225 pounds.
Yeah, big one, big girl, big old girl.
Yeah.
Um, which I think the statue's fine. It's just kind of plain Jane. I mean, I think you would do something a little bit more. How about a statue with many? If you really want to push women, then why don't you have a statue with a big pediment and have all different kinds of women together doing something,
Mhm.
right? That might have been cool. It's just
Yep.
too plain. I mean,
Yeah.
but this also might explain why during the Roman and Greek revivals of the 19th century, which I understand that's argued, I get it, the whole mud flood thing, I get it.
Yep.
However, it could also just simply be an understanding of, well, those old statues look cooler, dude.
Right.
that the modern stuff, even these right here, these two right here, they're a little bit better. This, especially Father Duffy, but they're just not as cool as that old stuff. I mean, let me go back over here and just kind of look at my search and go into just some of the statuary. Look at Columbia here. I mean, she's much more interesting things going on. Of course, this is devil worship, but nevertheless, there's a pigeon.
Yep.
Okay, this one more devil worship. But look at these things over here, right? They just look better, man. The old Greek style stuff looks better, right?
Yes.
It is
Which
what
is
it
wild
is.
when you think about it. You think about it, like, that was made well, that one wasn't, but other ones were in that style made thousands of years ago.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And they still look good, and we still making them. Of course, people have completely forgotten to stop talking about this dumbassery.
Yeah.
Women power. Okay, cool. Alrighty. Anyway, let's move on. It was just dumb. What's this?
Backlash. Yes, Backlash was yesterday. I didn't watch it though. I was busy doing other things besides this. As much as I like Randy Orton, and I do, he's one of my favorites. And as much as I loathe Mr. Cena, their era was what drove me away from pro wrestling for almost, well, 8 years. I want to say, give or take.
Oh wow.
Um,
I'm gonna get some
I
coffee while
just
you explain.
I just absolutely despise everything about John Cena on a spiritual level. But apparently this match was fun. They had their big pay-per-view. They did the final Cena versus Orton match. There will not be another one, at least allegedly. They've done this match 1,000 times in WWE. Anybody who's ever watched WWE over the last 20 years or so, well, yeah, last 20 years or so, 25 years really. These two have run into each other many times. And they were the two biggest stars of their era, them and Mr. David Batista. Um, Orton has become a beloved legendary veteran to the point where when he comes out now, everybody sings a song as he walks to the ring, which does sound pretty cool. And I like his entrance music. I listen to it all the time. It's on my playlist, my workout playlist. Uh, but it's one of those things where Cena is having his last farewell year. They put the title on him, I think largely just so Cody could take most of the year off and just, rest after carrying the company for 3 years. Uh, and they're gonna just kinda do this thing where he does kind of his greatest hits and goes against his biggest opponents, but as anyone who's listened to this will know, or if you watch wrestling, they turned John Cena heel. And that's been a mixed bag, largely because they didn't really have a grand plan for it, and I think that was a missed opportunity. Um, Cena doesn't really work as a heel while still wearing all of his goofy little outfits and saying his little catchphrases, and he just comes off as really corny. Whereas if he would have just come out there and been basically the same guy, but a little bit more of a douche, himself, yeah. Uh, I think it would have got over a lot better. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I didn't, like I said, I didn't watch this. I was busy doing something else, and there wasn't really anything on there that was of great interest to me. I mean, these two guys are both in their mid 40s. Their time has largely passed. Orton can still go. He's still a phenomenal wrestler. I think he's 45 or something like that, 44, 45, somewhere in the middle there, maybe even older. I don't know. And he's in just ridiculous shape. He's built like a tank. So this picture here that that makes it look like they're the same height. No, Orton's actually a few inches taller than him, and at least 50 pounds more muscle on him now than Cena has. It's a very interesting to see the difference because back in the day, Cena was all jacked out and he claims he didn't do steroids, but come on, he was way too big. Um, and Orton was much leaner. He had that really lean, long, ridiculously cut, but lean, long body for so long up until the last few years here where he just bulked out like crazy. He's got to be almost 300 pounds of muscle now. which is outrageous for a man that tall. Uh, and it just the contrast is very interesting to see. But apparently they had this match. Cena cheated to win, of course, because he's the bad guy. And Orton went on a RKO spree and RKO'd everybody in sight, basically, because that's kind of his thing now. He just RKO's people whenever he can. Um, yeah, it's just one of those things. Like this is what we're gonna get from wrestling probably for the rest of this year. Cena's gonna hang on to that title, most likely at least until SummerSlam. Well, almost definitely at least until SummerSlam. I guess his last appearance is supposed to be in December, I think December 13th. Um, his final scheduled appearance as a professional wrestler. He'll still be around WWE, but he's claims he's never going to wrestle again after this year. So we'll see. Honestly, I'd be completely fine with that because oh my gosh, the man still can't wrestle. I'm sorry if you're a Cena fan out there and you hear my voice right now and you think he's the best of all time. No. No. Mr. John Cena is a shit professional wrestler. He always has been. And unfortunately, it looks like he always will be, but now they've given him the title 17 times, so we have to hear he's the greatest ever just because he has a bigger number than other people. Um, which is silliness because, you know, that number is largely arbitrary. And the reason he had it 17 times is because he was busy burying two whole generations of upcoming talent to make sure that they never got anywhere near his top spot. He, of course, pretends that he didn't do this, but every top guy does that to some level. Everyone. The only one who didn't really get a chance to was Stone Cold Steve Austin, but that was because his career got cut short because of all his injuries. He probably would have done the same thing, if we're being honest. It's what you do when you get to the top. You don't want anybody coming in and taking your spot. So you play your little games. You make sure they get a little bit buried. Orton's done it too over the years. But Orton is it's interesting because Randy has grown up, right? He's in his mid 40s. He's got a bunch of kids. He's got a wife. Um, he grew up. So he's not quite the punk he used to be because back in the day, anybody who knows about that time, Randy was a troublemaker. And he would fail drug tests and cause problems and yeah, he would get in trouble. But apparently he's nothing like that now. In fact, I watched him on Cody Rhodes used to have this little, I don't know if he still does it or not, but he had like this sponsored little podcast he would do, official WWE podcast, and Randy was one of the guests. And on that podcast, I watched that. Mr. Orton, in his old age, has become quite the video game player, and apparently at that time, this was over a year ago, had over 600 hours in Elden Ring.
Oh, wow.
Uh, yeah, so he's a big old gamer, and he's completely mellowed out. Mr. Orton has. He's a totally anybody who knew him, 10, 15 years ago and knows him now, they can't even believe it's the same guy. He grew up basically, right? He grew up, and but what I was saying is, Chester, it's interesting uh watching Mr. Cena be champion and stuff because during his era, the reason he was champion so much is because he got to the top very young and stayed for so long and then went on about a decade long burial of anybody who got near his spot. The only one who ever got close was Randy and of course Batista, but they were usually on different shows, so they didn't run into each other that much. Um, but people like to do the revisionist history thing and
Right.
pretend that he didn't do that, but he absolutely Hogan did it too. Austin would have done it if he hadn't got hurt and been, had his career cut short. The Rock left for Hollywood. That's the only reason he didn't do it. So it's just perfectly, normal behavior for the top guy. That's just usually what they do is they make sure they protect their spot. Uh, but yeah, so this match was, we've seen this match 100 times. It's not like it was a new match
Randy won?
by any stretch of the imagination. No, no, no.
Hmm.
So here's what happened. Um, one of the guys, I don't know if you remember R Truth, good old R
Oh, of
Truth.
course. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's his gimmick is that he's the biggest Cena fan in the world,
Is that the
and
gimmick? All right.
he's decided that Cena's right and everybody else is wrong, and he's still a big Cena fan. And Randy was getting ready to punt Cena, the infamous punt.
Right.
And the most protected finishing move in the history of wrestling. And R-Truth rolled slid into the ring and stopped him. Orton hit him with an RKO. Cena low blowed Orton and hit him with the title, and that's how he kept the title.
Of course,
Um,
because he's a bad
and
guy now.
now, yeah, he's a bad guy now. And then at the press conference after, Cena comes walking up and basically tells Triple H to leave. Triple H says, "All right, champion wants to speak," and he leaves. He goes to start talking, and R-Truth comes walking up, and then Cena picked him up and put him through the table. So it looks like he's either going to be his next opponent's going to be R-Truth, or they were just ending that little R-Truth as a super fan storyline. I
Well,
don't know.
come
We'll
on, our
see.
truth is way too old, dude.
He's in his mid 50s. But yeah, I think he's your age actually. I think he's like 54,
Yeah, he's
55.
too old, man. Let him
He's in
relax. He's good on the
crazy
mic
shape
anyway.
though. He's in crazy shape though.
I
But
bet he is, but
yeah, I don't know. But what I was saying is basically this whole Cena run is just him doing all of his greatest hits. He's gonna be, it's kind of sucks that they had. I mean, if you're gonna do Cena Orton, if you were gonna do that at all, you kind of wasted it on Backlash. Like this is the last time supposedly they're gonna have a match together. I don't know. That seems like it should have had a bit of a bigger billing, but all right.
right.
Um,
Well, this is supposed to be, quelling feuds, backlash, right? That's the
right.
point, right?
Yes.
Well, we got over here. We got what is this? Is Dominic Mysterio?
Yep.
Is he the
Ray's
idiot
son.
with the mustache?
Yes.
Okay, someone send him an email. No. Okay. Versus Penta, which is just mascara. I'm assuming a luchador from Mexico.
Yeah, Penta. He's pretty good though. He's
Oh,
pretty
they
good.
usually are. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't really care about that, but they're really trying to push Dominic, huh? Second coming of his dad. But is he handling it though? I mean, Ray, those are big boots, dude. He's a little dude. Them big boots. Has he
Sorry, my
got it?
wife was talking to me. Yeah, no. Dom's phenomenal. He's a future world champion, no
Okay.
question. He
Uh,
he has the most heat in the company.
all right.
Um, there
Cool.
was a time for like 3 years where he couldn't even speak into a microphone because the crowd wouldn't let him. They'd boo him too loud.
Oh, interesting. We got
Yep.
a fatal four-way. We got Damian Priest. I remember that guy.
Mhm.
Still kind of sucks. Drew McIntyre,
Well,
which I've always liked. L.A. Knight. Go away. And Jacob Fatu. They still got Fatu running around.
oh, that's his son.
Oh, all
Um,
right, all right, all
and
right.
he is if another future world champion. He's the US champion right now.
So
He's
he
just
won.
yeah, he can do anything. Like he's one of those wrestlers who can literally do anything. He's a big guy, but he can fly around if he wants to.
Well, he's like third or
He
fourth
can
generation then, right?
wrestle. Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's part of the bloodline family, like the same with Roman Reigns and all them. Um, and yeah, no, he's a really good promo. The crowd loves him, and they have since he first showed up.
Well,
Uh, he he's just this is the type of guy who they're gonna put a rock. They already have put a rocket
now
on him. He's still a rookie, and he's already a U.S. champion.
wasn't wasn't the original Fatu because I can't remember his name, but wasn't he somehow associated with The Rock?
Yeah, yeah, it's all the same family.
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah. All
Mhm.
right. Cool. Good for you. This is not one of Rock's kids.
No,
Okay.
no, his only kid that's involved in wrestling is his daughter, and she's the general manager of their developmental, like on screen. She's not really,
Oh shit,
and
but that's cool.
but she's kind of. She did not get the charisma of her father.
Well, her father didn't have the charisma of her father when he first came out.
True.
He was lame as shit. Of course, I'm not a John Cena guy. I'm a Randy Orton guy though, and this guy has
Yep.
turned into the perfect Cro-Magnon.
He's an absolute tank. I
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
woo, in his
scary.
mid 40s, he's built like that.
Yeah.
So anybody who says he's not taking something, like,
Oh,
come
he's
on.
definitely taking lots of something. Problem is, he's probably not gonna make it out of his 50s. That's how it goes. We
He
got
might not.
oh, I don't care, girl shit. What's down
Yeah.
here? We got Pat McAfee, go back and make a better Virus Buster, and Gunther. I like Gunther.
Gunther. Yeah, this is a match. I don't understand why it happened. I don't understand why Gunther, one of the most legit wrestlers they've had in decades, um, is being put in there with a commentator because McAfee's one of their commentators.
Oh, is he?
And I didn't watch it, but apparently the match went on way too long because it, should have just. Gunther was just a world champion like a week ago, basically at WrestleMania. Uh, it's just I don't know. It's one of those situations where it makes you go, "What are we doing? Why are we subjecting
Oh.
Gunther to this?"
Yeah, well, they do that kind of stuff. Oh, I didn't notice that. Thank you, Roger. Yeah, it does say Dirty Dominic Mysterio. That's why he's got the
Yep.
mustache. It's the Dirty
Yes.
Sanchez. I get it.
No, no, no,
I
no.
got it.
Well, yes, but also if you couldn't tell, he looks a lot like Eddie, because his gimmick is
Guerrero.
basically just yeah, Eddie Guerrero is basically just Eddie Guerrero's lie, cheat, and steal gimmick from back in the day. He's he's the bad guy, and he's fine with it. He calls himself
Yeah,
Dirty Dominic. He claims he was an ex-convict, even though he only went to jail for like an hour. Stuff like that.
I see.
He steals people's girls, that kind of stuff.
That little sawed off guy?
He's about 6'2". He's not short like his
Oh, he's
dad.
not like his dad. I figured to be like his
Uh-uh.
dad. Well, it's that though.
He's
Therefore,
light.
he's then it'll be easier for him then, because Ray is a freaking spectacle, and he earned every second of fame. That guy.
Yes.
But I mean, I can't even imagine how many bones he's broken and rebroken over the years.
Oh, he's had I think at one point I heard over 50 major surgeries
Yeah,
on his joints.
it's ridiculous.
And he's
Um,
still going. He's
i-
still wrestling.
is he? Oh,
Um,
come on,
yeah,
dude, get some rest. I mean, it's amazing what a little guy can do, though. It's impressive.
yes, yes. But Dom is unironically, unless he does something really dumb, which he's not going to because he's actually a really seems like a really good dude. Like for instance, Dominic Mysterio has only his he married his high school sweetheart.
Aw,
He's known her since she was 13, and they got married a couple years ago. So he's a good boy, even though he looks like a trash heap. He's
well,
a good boy.
it's the kayfabe, right?
Yeah, yeah. No, but I think, and he wins at WrestleMania. He won the Intercontinental title, and it was easily the loudest pop of the night when
Oh,
Dom won
that's
the. And
cool.
he's a bad guy, but the reason why is because everybody wants Dom to succeed, right? Because they hate him, but they don't really hate him. They just hate,
Oh,
how
sure.
it
Yeah,
is.
I understand kayfabe. Yeah, I
Yeah.
understand. Yeah, I mean, when I was a kid, one of my favorite wrestlers was Razor Ramon.
Not even yet. He's not even Cuban. In fact, he's not Latino at all. Scott Hall. He's
No, he's
just his
not.
name's Hall.
Yeah, he went on and did something else. That's right. He played. No, what was his other character like Diesel or something?
No, he was Scott Hall.
Just
That's
Scott
his real
Hall.
name. His real
Yeah,
name was Scott Hall.
yeah.
Yeah.
Razor Ramon and fabulous Rick Rude, another bad guy. He was fun.
Ravish,
Ravishing,
ravishing
yeah,
Rick Rude.
ravishing. Thank you. He was
And
fun.
he was a badass. Apparently, everybody who knew him, like he was
He's a great wrestler.
not the man to trifle with. He was one of
Oh,
those.
Ted DiBiase. Oh, I
Yeah,
love watching him wrestle, dude. He
yeah,
he had that old school wrestler body, not the new school.
yes,
Like we just said, ravishing Rick Rude. He's more of a modern body wrestler. But Ted DiBiase had that old school body, but that dude was with the definition of a ring general.
yes. He was.
Amazing ring awareness and capability. I've seen so many matches because that's what they would do with him. They would use him to, in a way, I think, to kind of train up and comings in the ring.
Yeah. Hmm.
And I've seen that dude so many times save a match, right? Because he's so aware of what's going on, and he'll make sure the kid hits his point, and if he doesn't, he'll hit it for him, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, Ted. You ever see Ted wrestle?
Of course.
Yeah, he was really good, really good. But
Million Dollar Man.
Million Dollar Man, dude, is he still alive or he died or something? Didn't he?
No, he's still alive. He's a devout Christian man.
Didn't something bad happen around him though? It wasn't his fault, but
Um, I don't know if it was him or if it was his son or if it was him
It
and his
wasn't
son, but
him.
somebody involved got caught defrauding the government or something,
Right,
I
I think it
believe.
was his kid. It wasn't him. He had no involvement whatsoever. Um, but for him with DiBiase though, for me, it was his ability to control the situation 100%. Right? Like I don't know if I've ever seen him stiff. I don't know if I've ever seen him cause an injury. Now I of course haven't seen every single match he's had, but he was pretty impressive. Although they just brought in some new girl to be this like terror type thing going against your girl, and she dropped on her head twice during one match.
Wait, who? Who we talking about?
Well, there's some girl some ugly chick you like.
Oh, Rhea Ripley, yeah, that you
Yeah, yeah.
insist is hideous. Yeah, yeah.
And
Um,
there was another girl, looked like she was a new girl, like bigger,
mhm.
and they had her in a match, and she dropped the Ripley on her head twice. Twice.
Yes, yes.
Jesus, dude.
No, the problem Rhea has, and the problem a lot of the actual women who can actually work have, is there's not enough of other women who can. So they get that sort of situations where they get dropped on their head or whatever because they're in there with other
Amateurs
females who simply just
don't
they're
have
not
the
athletic
power.
enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't have the physical strength to do it. And Rhea's not a small girl, so
No,
you
she's a big
gotta
girl.
yeah.
Yeah, but that's not cool for her then. I mean, because I'm sure in the roster now of what are there hundreds of them technically, there
Oh
are
yeah.
some actual assholes. There always are. But in general, their job is to put on a good show and try to keep everybody healthy. That's your job as a wrestler, to keep
Yes.
everybody healthy week to week. And some of them, you don't get it.
No. No, unfortunately. Unfortunately. Yeah, your job is to make it look like you've hurt them without actually hurting
Yeah,
them.
yeah, yeah. This is a business, man. You gotta protect. Everyone's got to protect. That's one of the reasons
Yes.
why I love Dolph Ziggler so much.
Oh, he was great. One of the things that we have Mr. Maple Sheik here. He'll appreciate this. One of the reasons why Bret Hart was probably the best in-ring wrestler of all time is simply because
Oh
he
yeah,
never
Brett's
hurt
amazing.
anybody ever.
Nah, he'd
He
take
he
care of you.
yeah, there was never as far as I know, nobody not that other people didn't get hurt in matches he was in, but it wasn't his fault, right? It was never
No, no,
he hurt
he'd
himself
take care
a
of you.
couple times,
Yeah,
but he never hurt other people,
that's true.
which is very it's good. That's,
Yeah.
that's the job. Job 1 is
Ooh.
not to hurt your opponent.
Yeah, yeah, that's the job. I mean, we're doing this week in, week out. You gotta take care of each other, man. Maple
Yeah.
Sheik mentions Mr. Wonderful, of course, Paul Orndorff. Yeah, he was a pretty good wrestler too, dude. Yeah. But back in those days, they there was so many guys that the training, the amount of training they put in, which you could see it. They put so much training, even if they might have had sloppy body like a Dusty Rhodes. Dusty Rhodes
Yep.
was great in the ring, right?
Yes.
And it seems these
Hyper athletic.
days, well, yeah, he's very athletic, but it seems a lot of the guys these days, not all, they're more interested in the cut, the look of their body than they are putting in the repetitions, right?
Yeah.
And that's not
Or
good.
they're interested in being flashy instead of, being smooth.
Being capable,
I
yeah, yeah.
I'd much rather watch Bret Hart work any day of the
Oh,
week
any day. Brett was great.
than watch
Yeah,
99% of modern wrestlers. And the reason is not because Bret's doing anything crazy, but because what he's doing is so clean, but doesn't look clean, but is clean that it's so much more interesting to watch. Like
and yeah.
nobody even to this day can throw a backbreaker. He threw the best backbreaker ever.
Oh,
He
sure.
just did. It
Yeah,
was so clean every time.
yeah,
Boom, 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 boom.
yeah.
It looked so good. Looked like he
When
was really hurting that person.
And he's also one of the best, and Dolph falls in this category as well, but one of the best is selling it without even having a mic in his hand.
Right.
He's so good at
Yeah.
that. And Maple Sheik is 100% correct. Everyone's best matches were always with Bret Hart. That's true.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's
I agree.
unfortunate because we did have the Montreal screw job. And I'm
Yes.
still not 100% sure whether that was kayfabe or not. Um,
Nobody ever will be.
yeah, because if that wasn't kayfabe, nah, that's bullshit. That's real
Yeah.
bullshit. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Which it's funny because all Brett wanted is he just didn't want to lose in Canada. That's all. That's it. He didn't want to lose the title in Canada. He was perfectly fine with losing it in the next night in they weren't going to be in Canada, I don't believe, on Raw. So he didn't want to lose in Canada, especially to Shawn Michaels, because
yeah.
they didn't like
Well,
each
that's
other
okay.
much.
Canada's about to get smaller. Yeah, there's a
Oh,
lot of
that's
these
right.
guys in Canada.
If
Yeah.
we take Alberta, that makes Bret Hart American.
Yep. Yep.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Come back to homeland, brother. But we'll see. I think Alberta might well leave. There's a high chance of it. Will they join American immediately? Not sure. But they'll certainly, even with that, they'll be in better position. But because Trump, if you haven't noticed, he's not letting up on Canada at all.
No,
He's
he's
making
correct.
deals with all kind of countries right now. There's a couple of them be come out officially, but he's making deals with everybody, but not with Canada or Australia. So we'll see. We'll see. But anyway, wrestling, always fun to talk about. Ooh, this will make you happy.
Uh-oh. Hang on, I'm giving my wife a cookie.
Oh, is that a metaphor?
No, yes, Godzilla versus Kong or Godzilla X Kong. I don't know, and Kong. How do we say this? Do we still know
With.
Godzilla with Kong? That's so clunky.
Yeah.
Supernova
Now filming.
now
So,
filming. Is this
uh,
the one? I'm assuming this is the one where we see Godzilla get his properly colored atomic breath.
I don't know, maybe. But people seem to like the Godzilla movies. And they got a little thing here with Monarch, of course. You can actually call a number up as a fan right here. And they're having some fun with it, which is cool. This is a number you can call and say, I saw a Titan. But they're trying to build their little bit of world with it. But I thought the more interesting part of this article was trying to decide who they might be fighting because obviously supernova nova suggests cosmic space kaiju, and during the
Yep.
history of Godzilla there are plenty of those. But these are the ones that it could be potentially. So we got Solguran, solar-based kaiju drawing energy from stars or functioning like a living supernova, emits flares and radiation blasts. I don't know this one. You know this one?
I have never heard of it. No.
No. Chrono Titan, I recognize that one, the time one. A time warping kaiju awakened by the celestial imbalance of previous Titan battles. Okay. Giga Moth, which is just Mothra's dark twin, because you always gotta have a dark twin, you
Yeah,
know.
that's right.
Yeah, yeah. And of course, Mothra is solar powered. Astrogon. Sounds kind of familiar. Spacefaring or meteor-borne kaiju. Okay, okay. Of course, King Ghidorah is from space as well, but we've already seen her. Let's see, Binoculus. Don't know that one. This is ancient civilization's creation, alien tech to destroy Titans. Okay. Space Godzilla, a mutant clone of
That's good.
Godzilla.
It's either gonna be that or Gigan, probably.
Maybe a big guy again, but that would be the most recognizable. But now, one things they did in the original Godzilla was there were a lot of alien shenanigans going on in it, right? A lot of aliens. And if unless I'm wrong, they haven't really introduced aliens yet, even though we're what 5 movies deep.
Yeah, well, I mean, Ghidorah was an alien.
Yes, yeah, but you know what I mean. I'm talking about the aliens and their little UFOs because there are a lot of UFO aliens in Godzilla, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe we'll get them introduced this time. Maybe. And then, of course, Gigon, cybernetic space kaiju equipped with buzzsaw claws, laser eyes, and a metal hook in place of hands. Now, Gigon is the most recognizable of all this stuff for anybody, I am sure. I'll just show a picture real quick. The other ones I don't know as well.
Well, Space Godzilla, but yeah, it's probably gonna be. I would imagine, because they already did Mechagodzilla, so I don't know if you jump right from Mechagodzilla to Space Godzilla. That just seems silly. Not
Yeah,
that
no.
Gigan isn't silly himself, but
Oh yeah, it is. But they'll cool it up. They've been doing a good job with that. But
yeah,
this
yeah.
one is very recognizable for all the Toho kids like me who grew up with the Godzilla movies. One of the thing I was real lucky with is they had at our local cinema, which was in the mall. They had like this morning thing where they'd show a whole bunch of old movies, mostly Godzilla stuff, Gamera, and the of course the mom and dad could go shopping or go on and do something, right? So all those kids would be in the theater in the Saturday mornings watching Godzilla movies. So I've seen them all, and I remember Gigan, of course, but the other one here, I don't know. Let's look at this Solgaron. I don't. Yeah, do you know any of these? I mean,
Um, no, I don't actually. I don't know if they're newer ones. I don't know.
okay, so this is nothing. I guess I have to put Godzilla in.
Is it ones they made up, maybe?
Okay. Yeah, maybe it is. It's one they made up. All right. But
Well, because the last movie they had a new monster in it too, so whose name I can't remember, but it was the Frost Breath one.
right. Right. Well, they
And
have,
well, and I guess the ape too was yeah, so they were two new monsters.
yeah. Well,
But
they are trying to create their cosmology with Monarch and the
yeah,
Titans and trying to give reason to something that never had reason.
yes. Yes, which I don't it's fine, I guess. But at the same time, again, we're not really here for that. We're here to watch the big monsters fight. That's really all we care about. Make the big monsters fight.
Yeah.
We don't care why they're fighting.
Yeah.
They don't like each other. That's it. That's
Yeah.
good. That's enough.
That's
They
enough.
smell funny. Okay.
Well, and they
All right.
keep giving us the dumbass human stuff, which is like, stop
Yep.
it already. But
Yep.
in each of the movies, though, the kaiju fights are great. Um, I don't know. I'd say my favorite so far is got to be Godzilla versus King Ghidorah. That was good, dude.
Yeah. King of the Monsters.
That was good stuff, man.
The that last battle in that is I mean you get
Really good.
Super Super Saiyan Godzilla. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, yeah. But and having the humans running around the ground around it, seeing the effect and aftermath of it, that was good. That was a good use of the
Yep.
people to show the landscape. But in general, we just don't need the people because it's dumb and who cares? We don't care
Right.
about the people at all. We just want kaiju fight, honestly.
Kaiju fight. Kaiju
Yeah.
fight. I actually liked the last one. I know a lot of people didn't. Doesn't look like Alan liked it much. I thought it was fine. We got a lot more monster. We got a lot more Kong.
We
It was
did.
mostly a Kong
We did.
Kong
Yeah.
movie, but we still
Yeah.
got a lot more Kong. Uh, and then Godzilla showed up and did Godzilla things.
And he put
The
Kong down too, which was good.
well, you're thinking of Godzilla versus Kong. I'm talking about the last Godzilla X Kong, the Godzilla X
Oh,
Kong
I didn't
movie.
watch that one.
Yeah, you should watch it.
I
I think
should.
you'd
Yeah,
like. It's fine.
there's no reason not to. I just haven't gotten around to it.
One of those. It's because it's here's the thing with these movies. I'm not expecting them to be good.
Yeah.
I'm expecting them to be fun, and as
Yeah.
long as they're fun, I'm happy. I'm happy.
Yeah, sure.
So I think we'll see what they do here. They could do anything they want, as they've proven by introducing new monsters in the last one. Uh, they can do whatever they want, but I'm hoping it's either Gigan or maybe they do go some form. Some they don't have to necessarily call it Space Godzilla. Maybe they could use that as a joke, but I would almost rather they do a new monster and then maybe also one of the other ones,
Yeah.
right? So like because I could think they could pull that off as long as they, it makes sense, quote
Yeah.
unquote. Uh, I don't know. It's one of these things. As long as these keep making money, the director said a few years ago, as long as they keep making money, we'll keep making them.
Sure.
And
Why
apparently they're
not,
making
dude?
money. So
Yeah.
make them.
Um,
Let's do it.
that's why I'm kind of wondering because they definitely go on the monarch angle in these movies, 100%, and trying to explain
Yep.
the cosmology of why the Titans exist and yada yada. And they haven't leaned into the alien, the alien UFO thing at all.
Right.
I would kind of like to see him do it and see how Hollywood would pull it off compared to the Japanese, but they might be very, very phobic about even touching it, you know.
Yes.
But yeah, no, I do need to check that out because the monster fights are good, right?
Oh yeah, they are. The uh the last one's quite good actually. I liked it. I don't know. A lot of people didn't. I liked it. I thought it was just fine. Just fine.
And that's
You got
good.
to see Godzilla and Kong fight some big monsters.
Hmm.
Uh and they even like I said, they had the frost breath. I can't remember what its name was now, but it had frost breath basically.
Right.
And it was a bipedal creature, which is pretty cool. Or not bipedal, I'm sorry, quadruped creature, which was pretty interesting. And the bad monkey rode it like a mount.
Oh, of course he did. That's nice.
Yeah.
But the actually, I'm kind of surprised Hollywood hadn't tried to pick up on some of this other kaiju stuff like Gamera, because
Yeah.
Gamera, they went the Toho period went total kid show with it, right?
Yes.
Which is fine. But they, and of course, Gamera, the friend of children type of thing. But they always kind of hinted at some kind of like Atlantean connection or something like that. I'm kind of surprised they haven't given us Gamera or tried and kind of leaned into that Atlantis thing with him. That would be kind of fun
Yeah.
little, color to it and to have another kaiju movie. And Gamera's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, did you ever see Gamera? Or is that just my generation?
I have not seen it, not
Yeah.
because I haven't it's
He's a
not like I've avoided it or
flying
anything.
turtle.
Just haven't seen it. Yeah, flying turtle. No, it's interesting that they haven't done any more crossovers. How
Mm.
cool would it be to have, I mean, they could especially if they bring in the aliens, they could make this make sense. Bring in Ultraman. Why not? Let's have some
Eh,
fun.
yeah, you
Let's
could.
have some fun.
But where we are talking about remakes here a little bit as I move on here today and how it's insufferable. But to be fair, what they've done with the Godzilla stuff and the Kong is they've taken stuff that was not great, made for kids, and that's fine, and tried to bring it up into the more mainstream audience. And I think they've done it pretty well. It's just the acting is irritating people. But anyway, let's move on. Speaking of,
Speaking of Spider-Man Brand New Day. Oh boy, look at all these colons. Chester, what are we doing? What are we doing with these colons? Lisa Cologne Zayas. What a ridiculous name. Rumored as new Ant-Man. Wait, what?
yeah,
How does that make sense?
it doesn't, although it makes sense if you think it's Miles Morales and not Peter Parker.
But um, but he is Peter Parker.
But maybe he's
He's already
not.
Peter Parker.
Maybe in
He's
Spider Man Brand New Day, you're getting Miles Morales.
he's always been Peter Parker. Wait a minute. Well, because so at the end of the last one, this is if you haven't watched that movie by now, you're
I
probably
haven't.
not
Well,
going
I
to.
did. I did see it. Yeah.
At the end of the last one, Doctor Strange has to complete this spell to close this big dimensional rift thing he created by accident because that's
Stupidly.
very
No,
very
stupidly.
Doctor yeah, very Doctor Strange move to accidentally destroy the world. Um anyway, in order to close that, he had to complete the spell, and in order to complete the spell, basically it erased everybody's memory of Peter Parker. Nobody knows who he is. He doesn't exist in the minds of the people who loved him.
Right.
Even Doctor Strange doesn't remember him. So he gets to just be Spider-Man with very little consequence, but then he has to restart his life and figure himself out. So what are we doing here?
Well, it's either somehow his aunt is a completely different race from him, which makes perfect sense, of course, being he's the whitest guy ever,
Yeah.
or it's Miles Morales. And keep in mind, Zendaya is coming back, so maybe they're finally going to get her with a boy that she gets actually hot and bothered about, getting a nice Puerto Rican black boy up in there. So we might be seeing of the passing of the reins here. where
Yep.
Peter Parker's out, and you got the better Spider-Man in, and of course Zendaya with her true love. I have a feeling is what you're going to get. But yeah,
Her true love, who is the man she's marrying in Tom Holland.
well, I'm not talking about their real life. I'm talking about the
Um,
cinematic universe.
but no, you could be right. Uh, but we'll see. As far as I know, he still has like 3 movies on his contract. Holland does as Spider-Man. I think that's what I saw. Um, which this would be one of them. So 2 movies after this one. But those could be the Avengers movies too, and that would be it. Then he'd be done.
Yeah, but
Um, so
um,
you could be completely correct. Basically, they're gonna introduce all of the accoutrement they need for Miles, and then that'll just be it. But
maybe, which no one's
I'm
going to
just gonna
care
I'm
about
just
it.
gonna
No one's going to care about it.
spoil everybody's little day here. Yes, the Spider-Verse movies exist, and they've made a little bit of money. They haven't made a lot. Made a little bit of money. But Miles doesn't sell, guys.
He doesn't sell.
He
Nick
just doesn't.
Cage sells.
Yep.
He was the big hero out of that animated movie. But I think they're doing something like that. Whatever. I don't really give a shit what they do. But
At this point, I do not. The only one I care about at all is this one, and it's the only reason I do is because the end of the last one left him in the most Spider-Man place he's ever been as
yeah,
Spider-Man. He's living in his own apartment. He got his GED. He's going to college. Like he's actually about to be Spider-Man for once instead of Iron Spider Boy, which is what he's been
right,
this whole time. Uh, and the fact that he finally has his entire moral code basically
right,
was finally this defined. Like for once, he really felt like Spider-Man, and even the outfit at the end was a near perfect Spider-Man costume. Uh, and so I'm very interested to see where they're going to do with it, where they're going to go with it. But I keep hearing things coming out of this production that make me far less interested, like Zendaya being back. Oh, I was really hoping we were done with that. I
well,
really
yeah,
was.
move on.
Um, the fact that it looks like you're probably correct. They're going to lean into introducing Miles to take his
Yep,
place. Most likely, like I said, if it's true he does have 3 movies left, you're gonna get this movie and then the 2 Avengers movies that they have planned, and then that'll be it
probably.
for
Yep,
Mr. Peter Parker in modern Marvel.
yep, I have a feeling. That's what they're doing, and of course, with Holland and Zendaya, I don't even know her real name, but the fact, it's funny because I saw this little clip of an interview where she said she explained the moment she knew she was going to marry him. Would you like to guess what that moment was?
Tell me.
He was dressed in drag doing a crazy lewd dance.
Um,
Match made in heaven.
well, she is built like a 14-year-old boy,
She
so
is. That is true.
yeah.
But I wish him luck. I wish him luck. I hope they actually can make a relationship that lasts, have some kids. But yeah, yeah. So they don't
Mhm.
learn, do they? They don't learn. And speaking of
They do
not
not.
learning,
X-Men reboot at Marvel eyes Thunderbolts director Jake Schreier. Oh boy.
now we
Boy.
know that Kevin Feige has threatened us with 10 years of X-Men threat. He's now trying to throw all the blame on Bob Iger and Disney, saying the reason we're not doing well is because of you. No,
Uh-huh.
not really, Kevin. And of course, you're going to take a director who has made a failure of a movie. This movie is going to lose them, 200-300 million dollars,
That's right.
and throw them into more work. Why do they keep doing this?
Failing upward.
It is
Um
weird.
It is strange. Hollywood is one of the only places in the world where you can fail upward on a regular basis.
Mhm.
I
That is
don't
a
know.
rough
I
looking
don't.
woman, dude. She's already got under jowl. Look at that.
Well, yeah, unfortunately, she's aging like milk that's been left in the sun for too long. But, but I did read something. I think I posted it in here. I'm going to read it real quick. I'm going to read it just real quick. Let me find it. Let
Mhm.
me find it. Where is it? Okay. Apparently, she was being asked. You know the term "ick," Chester. When girls get the ick from a man,
Well, it's kind of
that's
a
their new
modern
thing.
thing, but all right.
Yeah. they get the ick. Well, someone asked her what Lewis Pullman's ick is, her co-star. I believe that's the guy who's playing Century. Uh, and she says, "I don't like the term ick. I think it's really shit and only really associates to men, and I don't like that either. People fuck up, and that's absolutely fine. Why are we making a big deal about it? Anyway, I don't care."
Okay.
So she at least has some kind of a head on her shoulders. She's not a complete retard.
I
I'll
didn't
give her
say she
that.
was. And it sounds like
I'll
she's
give her
actually
that.
a fair actress. That's not the point.
No, she
I
is.
I
She
don't
is.
have anything
The
against her.
the
Yeah.
problem is one of the things that Hollywood's been doing is they don't like pretty women anymore.
No.
I don't think she's necessarily ugly, but
Yes, she is necessarily ugly.
I
And
wouldn't
could
say
you be
she's
more
pretty
J.J.
either.
Abrams Jew if you tried? Could you? Possibly, Miss Schreier, Mr. Schreier. Could you possibly? Can we have a banner, maybe something on your sleeve, like a Star of David?
Oh, what? Back
Sorry.
up, Kanye. Calm down.
Yeah, dude, she's ugly as shit. What are you talking about? She was hired because she was ugly. Like I said, she seems like I haven't heard any noise out of her. Like you just said, she seems like a normal person. She seems like a capable actress. Cool. But she was chosen because she's ugly. That's why she was chosen. And I wonder how she feels about that.
Probably fine if she cashes checks.
Yeah, it's true. Money's money,
I
I
mean, shit,
guess.
if they wanna hire me to be ugly, I'll be ugly all day for them. 'Em. They're gonna give me that kind of money.
It's true.
I call me what you want, I'm getting paid. I'm laughing all the way to the bank.
I can't believe a woman this young has already got undergel. Look at that, dude.
There's something wrong with Gen Z, dude. Half of them are aging, like, at twice the speed of the millennials. It's very weird. Like, I'm a millennial, and I look at me, and I look at my wife, who's also a millennial, and we look younger than a lot of these Gen Z people in
Dude,
their
I look
mid-20s.
younger than her.
That's what I'm saying.
Shit, I look younger than Hugh Jackman though, and he's my age. But then again, I do have beautiful smooth skin. They call me Tamagochan. Yeah. But yeah, this poor girl. It's not her fault, of course. But I still can't. Come on, come on. I mean, dude, dumpy, boring old Jew guy. I mean, goodness gracious. You've got to be kidding me, dude. What is this?
Yeah,
Oh, well, whatever. I'm just going to say things to get myself in trouble. All right,
you are. You
let's
are
move
indeed, sir.
let's move along. But it's dumb.
You are indeed.
This guy has failed completely, but yet you're going to put him in charge of something else. Good job. Let's go to something fun.
Oh, what the hell? I spilled something. What do we got? Trump making Hollywood great again. Tariffs on movies filmed outside the US.
This is pissing off Hollywood in all the right ways. And he's basically saying that, they're taking away work here in America. There's so few films being made in America, which is kind of true. And he wants to force them back in making movies in America, and he's going to put 100% 100% tariff on
100%.
movies made outside the country. So I'm assuming by Hollywood studios.
Yes.
I don't really know. This not specific, as with many things who Trump is, because he's more about getting a reaction a lot of times than he is actually, telling you what he's really doing, right?
Right.
But let's just take it at face value. Putting
Mhm.
100% tariff on any movies made outside the states.
Yep.
I don't know how I feel about that.
I'm all right with it.
Yeah, I suppose
I'm
it.
anything that makes Hollywood's job harder, I'm all right with that.
Fair enough, but the whole point of it is to try to save Hollywood, is what he's saying.
Yeah, but there's no saving that. The only reason it's been able to float along for so long is because the powers that be need it.
Yeah.
It's narrative creation
Well, we
device.
know there's a lot of money laundering going on there for sure.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but I mean, if you look at it right here, he's got a little speech. You want to do your best Trumpian? Go ahead.
No, I do not want to do my best Trumpian at all. I'm not even in there, actually.
Mm. The movie industry in America is dying very fast death. Other countries are offering all sorts of incentives to draw our filmmakers and studios away from the United States. Hollywood and many other areas within the United States are being devastated. This is a concerted effort by other nations and therefore a national security threat. It is, in addition to everything else, messaging and propaganda. Therefore, I am authorizing the Department of Commerce and United States Trade Representatives to immediately begin the process of instituting, a 100% tariff on any and
Hmm,
all movies coming into our country that are produced in foreign lands. We won't. We want movies made in America. Again.
that was terrible. I'm gonna
Thank you.
tell you the truth. That
Thank you.
was one of the worst Trumps I've ever heard in my
Thank.
life.
Thank you.
You definitely do not have a career as a Trump impersonator.
No, I would imagine not. Yeah.
Yeah. No, no, I'm fine. I genuinely am fine with it. I'm fine with any of the tariffs, I'll be honest with you. And the reason being is because, yeah, okay, fuck Hollywood. But also, this will help because Hollywood, one of the reasons it's able to stay afloat like it is at all is it's able to go to these other countries like New Zealand and what have you, make these movies for basically nothing compared to what they would have to pay here, pay the workers and stuff. And this allows them to save a bunch of money and then they can make the movie and blah, 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 blah. The problem with that is the same problem all these other industries do. Why should Hollywood get a pass? The point is the American worker has been abused and disaffected by this globalism for so long. And Trump's whole thing is he's a economic nationalist. He wants to bring it back
Yep.
here. He wants the American worker to be the one to benefit from these industries, massive amounts of money they bring in, and Hollywood brings in massive amounts of money. Um, that only ever seems to go to the top, and that's not fair. That's not fair to anybody involved. And whether you like Trump or you don't like Trump, that's not the point. Whether it works or it doesn't work, also not really the point. At least he's trying to balance the scale.
Yep. That
At
is
no
true.
point does this help the rich elites that he's supposedly in the pocket of if he has the Democrats. How does tariffing Hollywood to make sure they make movies here so that the unionized labor in the industry has to get paid, which is why they don't make them here. Um, how does that help the rich elites? Definitely doesn't help the rich elites in Hollywood who are trying to save money making these movies. So how is he helping anybody other than the American worker? Which the people who do the actual work on a movie set,
Yeah.
the ones who don't get all the rewards and don't get millions and millions and millions of dollars, but they work
Right.
14, 12, 14, 16-hour days
Right.
just like everybody else does. Um, they get screwed constantly.
Oh yeah.
Constantly.
That's true.
And I'm fine with it. These large international conglomerates, I'm sick of them. I think every normal American's sick of them, and anybody who will hurt them at any level, I'm on their side.
Yeah.
Hurt them
Sure.
financially,
Yeah.
hurt them, put them in jail. I don't care. Tear them up. They've done unbelievable damage to communities in this country,
Yeah.
and really around the world, but definitely in America too. And the only reason they continuously get away with it is because nobody in Washington will stand up to them because they're all in their pocket.
They are.
Well, we sent this orange bastard in there to stand up to him, and he's trying to the
He
best way
is.
he can. Now, there's
That's
other
true.
ways he can, but then everybody will get mad about human rights violations. So, what do you
Yep.
want him to do?
Yeah. You got to
He's
do what you got to
trying to
do. That's
enact his
true.
mandate.
Well,
He's trying to enact his mandate.
he is. And to be fair, these Hollywood actors have been overpaid drama queens forever. It's just people are
Yes.
starting to realize it, right? And
Yes.
starting to get on board with it. That's the reality of it. And yes, that was George Burns. Thank you for noticing, Alan. Um, uh, but it is what it
That's
is.
not Donald Trump.
It's not Donald Trump. But moving along this same idea,
Hang on, I'm in my basement.
this one baffles me.
It's Mother's Day, Chester. I have to do all the chores.
That's fine.
So I'm in my basement. So go ahead and read it.
Okay. Sydney Sweeney's remake of sci-fi cult classic gets optimistic update despite 3 years in development. Now,
Oh Lord.
I put this in here once again. I'm on the Remake Everything. I'm going to get to in a second. But I'm also is how sad is it for the youngins that this is their hottie? Because that is not a pretty girl. I mean, she's got a couple of cans. Okay, kinda. They're sloppy. They're pretty sloppy, dude. Right? But it's not actually a pretty girl. But it's the best they can get a hold of. Isn't it? Isn't that just sad?
Yes, it is. My wife decided to jump scare me, and I came when I came out of the basement.
I see.
Um,
Act like it was successful.
no, it was because I was looking at the sink when I walked up the stairs, and
I
not at
see.
her where she was hiding. She thinks she's funny.
She's being giggly. That's good. But you know what I mean? I mean, they keep pushing this girl, but I mean, look at the picture, dude. It's not a pretty girl. She's once again aging like milk, like so many of these youngins.
I don't know what's going on, bro. I really don't. It's weird. There's all kinds of articles on it. They're starting to do research on it. Like these people are aging at unbelievable rate. Nobody knows why. Nobody has an answer.
This one is going to become instantly insufferable. I guarantee you, dude.
It,
This girl. But here's
and
the
what's
thing.
crazy is you have a lot of these young 20 somethings getting plastic surgery and stuff. Like, what are you
Yeah,
doing?
what are you doing to yourself? But this girl, who I understand is supposed to be the sexy one right now, even though she's not. Um, would you like to know what movie that she's remaking?
Tell me.
Barbarella.
Oh, Lord.
Now, Jane Fonda is a traitor to her country. End of conversation.
Correct.
However,
This is accurate.
that's a pretty girl.
She was, yeah.
That is not. I mean, let's look at the comparison. Okay, traitor. Okay, wow, wow, dude. It's shocking how less attractive she is than Jane Fonda. It's
Hmm.
shocking. But I mean, why are we remaking Barbarella? First of all, Barbarella wasn't a big hit. It became a bit of a cult classic because of its weird sexuality and its just weirdness. It's a weird movie. It was not a out of the gate hit. It wasn't.
Right.
And it's just a weird movie. If you've never seen it, it's bizarre. All it's about is space hippie LSD sex innuendo. That's all it is,
Hmm.
right? It's not
Right.
a movie that's worth remaking anyway, because it has no content. Like I said, if they take movies that weren't good but had a good idea and remake them, you get the 80s, right? Now,
Yeah.
what have we seen that's been remade from the past that did a good job? I'd say in recent memory, maybe The Bourne Identity, right? Because that was Chamberlain did the original Bourne character, right? Richard Chamberlain.
Mhm.
But that was like in the 80s, so they rebooted that pretty quick, really, because we got the first Born Identity what in the 20 years ago,
Something like that. Yeah.
something
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that.
It was 25 years ago,
Yeah,
Chester.
so they didn't wait very long to remake that. Although I have to say Matt Damon's is way better. So there's an
Yes.
example of a remake that actually worked. And
But
most
that's
people
because of
probably don't
Matt
even know there
Damon.
was an original Born Identity actually.
That's because of Matt Damon, though, because Matt Damon is,
Solid.
as much as he is an
Yeah.
insufferable prick, he's a phenomenal actor.
Yeah. But anyway, we're getting this thing. We're getting this really kind of unattractive girl trying to do like a sex bot because that's what the movie is. I'll give you some pictures here to give you an idea. Cause Jane, she's a traitor, but she was a looker for sure, dude. And you see, it's all very sexualized. The whole thing was super sexualized. The only thing I have to say is, even though she is an attractive girl, she's not good at being sexy, though, which maybe was the tongue-in-cheek joke of it. I'm not sure. But it's just bizarre, this remake. And of course, we have another remake that's coming up. Take a look at this one.
What do you got?
Oh, you're not in front of the screen still? Um,
No, I'm hugging my wife.
Aw, we're getting close. My work is done. Night of the Living Dead reboot writer reveals script is complete. Really?
Wait,
Really?
no, I'm sleeping.
Latoya Morgan has rewritten,
Look,
and they're going to be doing a new Night of the Living Dead. Once again, a bit of a holy grail you should not be touching, right? But yet they are. Um, ah, so we get two remakes here, both cult classics, and it's like for me, why? We don't need Barbarella. We really don't need that. And honestly, zombie fatigue is deep upon us. Deep upon us. We don't need another zombie movie. Truly, we really don't. But you're gonna touch the legend, Night of the Living Dead. That's
Yep.
what you got to do.
They're n Oh, they're gonna touch it alright. They're gonna touch it alright. They're gonna touch the hell out of it, Chester.
Yeah. Now I don't know this lady who's written the script. Maybe she's a good script writer. I have no clue. But I'm telling you, this movie is what kicked it all off. This is Romero, right? This is
Yep.
what kicked off the whole zombie thing. Now I understand there was a movie White Zombie that was older. I think Bob Hope might have been in that, but but that's not the same kind of zombie. That's a Santorini voodoo zombie. It's a different thing. That's drug induced. These are actual zombies as we know them now. And Night of the Living Dead is what made that thing happen. It's a good movie too. It's a solid drama actually. But it's insane to me because we've had enough. We've had enough of these zombie movies, dude, and the zombie TV shows. It's enough. It's been beaten to death. Comic books, board games, trading cards, TV shows, movies. 20 years of zombie after zombie. It's enough. It's enough. But yet Hollywood has to remake The Legend because it's there.
Because they can,
Yeah.
Chester, because they can. Ah,
It irritates me.
That's it's vexing, you know? It's terribly vexing.
It is.
See,
Anyway,
Chester, if you were a real film nerd, you know why I'd say that all the time. You know where I got it from.
vexing. I
Terribly
don't know.
vexed. It's a famous quote from Commodus in Gladiator
Okay.
when he's opining about uh Max,
It,
I believe Maximus, and he says he's terribly vexed. I don't know. It just always stuck with me the way he says it. Our boy
fair enough.
Joaquin. Oh,
Well,
Joaquin Phoenix.
being vexed is not a good thing.
Terribly vexed.
But anyway, so
Oh,
I
remember when
mean,
they made a sequel to that and nobody watched it and everybody forgot it existed already till I just reminded them?
yeah, well, it was a bad sequel though. Um,
It was a sequel. Any sequel to that would have been a bad sequel. If they were gonna do
sure.
anything, they should have did a prequel and let us see Maximus as a general or his rise to becoming a general before he gets
Man,
gladiated.
that would a prequel might have been interesting. Yeah, how the relationship between him and the emperor that could have been cool. But of
Yep,
course, they could have done something else. They could have done a Spartacus take or something like that. But Ridley has lost the juice. I mean, let's be
yes.
honest.
Well, he's old as shit.
He is, but he's really doesn't have it. He's been making movies for the past 10, 15 years, and they're not good. He's definitely put out some great movies. I'm not going to take it away from him, but he doesn't have it anymore. He doesn't. It's gone. And it is what it is. And of course, it falls into, for me, that movie, Gladiator 2, falls in the same category of Ben-Hur.
Yep,
Why are you touching it? Ben-Hur was one of the biggest hits of all time in Hollywood. It was such a that had so much impact, that movie. And of course it was a horrible, horrible remake, kind of like this one. And the unfortunate thing with the remake here with Gladiator, there was some pretty good actors in there, dude.
yep.
I mean, you got Denzel, and Denzel can bring it, dude. He can bring it.
I would say of his movies, um, of Ridley's movies, his most, in my opinion, overlooked one that is a genuine, I think, a genuine masterpiece is Kingdom of Heaven,
Oh, Kingdom Heaven
2005.
is amazing, especially the
It's
director's cut.
amazing. Yeah. Yep, 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 yep,
Yeah.
yep, yep, yep. Yeah, no,
Um,
it's so good. It's
yeah, no,
so good.
watch the director's cut though. Watch the
Yep,
director's cut. But yeah, no, Ridley Scott's put out some bangers, dude, for sure. Um, I mean, let's take a look here. What his career, right? I mean, Ridley Scott. What do we got? Let's go back to the beginning here. It's probably somewhere around Alien. I was like, Jesus, how many we looking at here? Has he done in his life? Has he been involved with as
well,
a
as a
producer?
producer, he's done 100 and well,
60,
160 some, basically.
64.
Um, That's as a
But
producer. Let's see
I
as
want to
just
look
a
at a director.
director.
I'm working on it. Yeah.
59 as a director. He's directed
Yeah.
59 films, it
That's what we
says.
want. Okay. So
That's
let's
wild.
take a look here because we want the director stuff. All right. So he did some kind of TV show I've never heard of, a short, don't know, never heard of it, no idea, never heard. I have heard of it, heard of it. Okay, The Duelist. Oh, I didn't know he did that. That's a great movie.
That's one of the greatest of that era.
It's a really good
Like that,
movie.
yeah, that time frame. In fact, that's one of those movies that people who know movies will tell you is when it comes to things like believability in the fights, the duels,
Yeah, yeah.
it's the one of the best, if not the best ever made,
And it
because it's
covers such
very
a long
realistic.
span of time as well.
Yep,
But yeah, Duelist, amazing. I didn't know he did that. Alien, of course, was he became a known thing. Blade
yep,
Runner, hello, yeah.
yep, yep.
Then it's just in between crap, a lot of crap. Black Rain, good movie, good movie. Thelma and Louise, I didn't know he did that. Huh.
Me neither.
1949, 1492 Conquest of Paradise, pretty good movie.
He also did Legend, the classic that is Legend, which was before these, but still.
Legend, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Um,
sure. With Tim Curry, of course, and Tom Cruise.
mhm,
Yeah, man, he's made some banger. White Squall, actually a small movie, but pretty good one. G.I. Jane, Propaganda Crap, Gladiator, of course, Hannibal, Black Hawk Down, another good movie. Matchstick Men, never seen it. Heard it was good though.
yeah,
Kingdom of Heaven, if you haven't seen it, what are you doing?
yeah.
American Gangster, another good movie, dude. Body of Lies, I liked his Robin Hood, by the way.
I know you did. I think you might be the only one.
Yeah.
A lot
Well,
of people did not like that movie.
Russell Crowe is the man, dude.
Yes,
Yeah.
correct.
Prometheus, hated it. The Vatican thing, no clue. Exodus, I actually was okay with that. The
Gods and
Martian,
Kings, yeah.
yeah, it's not bad. The Martian, Covenant, hated it. Uh, Raised by Wolves, no. The Last Dude, don't know. House of Gucci, why? Napoleon, absolute disaster of a movie. Gladiator
Yeah.
2, absolute disaster. And he's got, I don't know what the dope thief is, and he's got five more coming. Didn't we're gonna work this guy to death, huh?
He won't stop, won't stop, won't stop.
He must
No,
have some
it's a
debts.
shame. I know a lot of people like The Martian. I've never seen it, so I can't comment
It's
on it, but
okay.
it looks like that's a decade ago was his last, like, really good. Well, I guess Raised by Wolves has a pretty good rating, but that was a TV show. Um, yeah, I don't know. It's just one of those things with Ridley. Ridley was one of my favorites. I really like American Gangster.
Oh, there's
Kingdom
so
of
many
Heaven is
hits here. There's so many hits,
way
dude.
underrated, by the
Yeah,
way. Kingdom of Heaven is a masterpiece.
it is. It is one of the best
Black Hawk
movies of all
Down is a
time.
really good. Hannibal was really good. Like, he had a run. He
He
had a
did.
run there,
He
right
did.
there in those early 2000s where he was just pumping them.
Yeah.
Um,
Now,
yeah.
Raised by
So, but
Wolves is this is actually like it's not it says TV, but it's actually HBO.
yeah.
And the reason why most people don't know about it is because it is ultra girl power, ultra,
Mhm,
ultra mega
mm.
woke nonsense, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is.
Um,
Yeah,
and for me, Gladiator, up until, I don't know,
that's a good movie.
I got older, that was my favorite movie. I love Gladiator, and it's mostly, honestly, it's because of Russell Crowe, but, his performance in that movie is just whoo, I still the only one who I've seen who pulled me in more since, and it's why it's probably my favorite movie now, is Heath Ledger's Joker. But other than that, Maximus is phenomenal from beginning to end. He misses 0 beats the whole
No,
movie.
no, it is an
Uh,
amazing movie. It is, but the
he's so
reason
good.
why Robin Hood with Russell Crowe didn't hit
Again,
is because of Kate Blanchett. 100%. When in the
probably.
early parts where she's being, Maid Marian, and kind of having this flirtatious, angry relationship with Robin Longstrider, um, it's fine. It works just fine. But then she has to be girl boss, and they
That's right.
ruin it. If they had left that shit out and let her be Maid Marian and changed that
Yep.
ending a bit, that movie would have hit a lot harder. It was the ending that hurt this movie, not the first two acts. It was the third
Well,
act.
it also wasn't really long too.
A little bit, but
I
you're
don't
right. He
remember.
could have
It's been
tightened
a
it up a
while.
bit. You could have tightened it up, and you could have
And that's
tightened it
one
up
of
by
his
cutting out her
problems.
bullshit.
That's one of his problems is he gets long in the tooth.
He does.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Like you were talking about these alien movies, Covenant and Prometheus. Another problem there. Just too much. We're just doing too much now. Uh, like
And it's a betrayal of the story you told. That's the problem with
yes,
those movies. It betrays what you've set up. It betrays it.
correct.
And I don't know. It's just, and he even betrayed his own setup. If you look at Prometheus, he was setting something up, and then
Yep.
in Covenant, he completely destroys and betrays what he set up again.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's kind of like Lucas. These guys get old. Don't let them touch shit.
Let them just send them off with their millions somewhere beautiful and let them go.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Let them go.
And with George, it's even worse because he destroyed his legacy, right, George Lucas, because he was mad that we didn't love his prequels. How dare we even? So he literally sold his baby to Disney, who he called white slavers. He
He did
knows
it on
their
purpose.
shit. He did it
He
on
knew what he was doing.
purpose
Yep.
to punish us for not
That's right.
liking his prequels. And then he even went a step further and suggested, hey, Bob, Mr. Iger over there, I know the perfect person to run it for you. Her name is
Mhm.
Kathleen Kennedy.
That's right.
He did that.
He knew
He
what he did.
knows the absolute nightmare she was. And he destroyed his legacy because he's petty. George Lucas is a petty
Yep.
little shit.
Well, he's also worth like $10 billion. I think he'll be all right.
Yeah, but I mean, that's not the point.
Well, in fairness to him, while he did quite literally destroy Star Wars by selling it to the devil,
Hmm.
uh, he also there wouldn't be a modern cinema if it wasn't for him. So he probably looks at it more like that,
He
right?
did create the
Because
blockbuster. That is true.
he created the blockbuster. He created so much of what became special effects with Industrial Light and Magic
Yep.
and LucasArts and everything. Um, this man, he doesn't get enough credit as a businessman because that's really
No,
what he is.
I agree.
He's not he's a great idea
Idea.
man.
Yeah,
He can be a decent director,
he
not
can.
with Star Wars necessarily, but some of his other stuff's okay. Uh, but he's a great idea man, but he is a phenomenal businessman when it comes to like innovation and stuff. He when it come in that particular field, I don't know if anybody's done more like as a broad spectrum, right? Because he did it from every angle.
Hmm.
Because he had to they had to
Maybe
make up stuff.
Cameron.
They make those Star Wars movies. That stuff didn't exist. They had to
No,
make it up.
they did.
So, and they did. They made it up.
They did.
Um, but my point is, George's his legacy, while his baby he sold off, he sold his child into the white slavers as he called them. Uh, it goes a little deeper than that. And I think he probably sees it that way too, right? Like he probably doesn't look at it the way we look at it, clearly, or else he would have never sold it. Because Star Wars obviously meant more to us than it did to him.
Clearly,
He was angry. He was
he
angry
was
that
very angry.
enough
Yeah.
of that generation of fans just didn't love his movies like he thought they would because he loved them. But it's a shame, really. It's almost a it's not even almost, it is a tragedy.
Well,
He went from a beloved American icon who created a modern fantasy epic on the scale of anything ever to come before it, ever. It was the biggest franchise of all time up
yeah,
until
yeah,
the MCU,
yep,
and then he destroyed it.
he
He
did.
created it and then he destroyed it, which is, that's his right.
It is,
He is
but
the
it is
maker of it.
petty as hell.
It
And
is
with
petty as
his
hell.
and with his prequels, if he had simply brought on his friend Steven Spielberg
Yep.
Had him there with him, had someone simply to say no, because keep in mind, both of them, some of their greatest creations, they were there together. They're not
That's right.
necessarily labeled,
They weren't
as
paid.
being,
They're just
but
friends,
they were
just hanging
there,
out.
hanging out.
Yeah.
And if he had his buddy there with him, Steven would have said, maybe you should do this or that, or I don't know how well that works,
Maybe
George.
not. Maybe don't hire Hayden Christensen. Pick somebody else.
Well, I mean, a better director could have handled Hayden better.
I
Um,
don't know. I don't know about that. I've seen his other work.
he's pretty
Work.
horrible. You're right. But he needed someone there to give him some balance, some perspective,
Yeah, the
and he
no
didn't have
man. He needed a
anybody.
couple no men.
He did. He did.
Yeah,
And he and Steven have done so much together that, even though you might not know it, they've done a lot of projects together.
yeah,
And it would have helped him out a lot to have that advice and that ear there
yes,
next to him because, you know, he was alone. And it's probably the
he
first
was.
movies that he's ever done alone.
Oh, yeah, for sure. He always had studios and everything above him, but at that point, he was so big, they weren't gonna tell him no.
Even Red
So,
Tails, I think he had people on there helping
yes,
him.
yes. No, it's a shame because I'll defend it till the end of time. The story of the prequels is better than the original
And
trilogy.
it's fine.
It's just told
The
terribly.
the
The
tone,
execution is terrible.
yeah.
Yeah. But the overall story, when you look at it from, you analyze it, you pull back as a creative person and look at its pieces, it's phenomenal
Yeah.
what he was trying to do. If he could have pulled it off, nobody'd be bitching. They would
Well,
have been blown away, but he
if he
couldn't pull it
you're
off
right.
because
If he had leaned into the total political drama,
yeah,
people would look at it that the first trilogy and the second trilogy as they compare Terminator and Terminator Judgment Day. They would look
I
at it
agree.
like that
I agree.
because or even Aliens 2, right?
Yep.
Because it's a complete departure from what the first trilogy is, but you could have made that work real hardcore. But you needed to get into
Absolutely.
politics. The thing is, he softballed all of it,
Yep.
and then he created Jar Jar Binks, which is ridiculous.
George I don't know. No, I don't know if anybody's ever asked George, but someone needs to sit him down on a lie detector before he dies and be like, "Listen, was Jar Jar Binks supposed to be a Sith Lord?"
Of course he
Because
was. Darth
that
Plagueis.
theory is too perfect. It's too perfect.
It is.
It would have been the best it would have been because think about it. The one thing that really makes, well, besides the fact there's a lot of things, but the big thing in Empire Strikes Back is the twist, is the reveal that
Yeah,
that's his dad.
sure.
That's huge. Nobody, no, I don't care who you are, you didn't see that coming back in the day.
Well,
First time you
George didn't
watch
even
it,
see it coming in the first movie.
it's true. First time you watch it, you didn't see that coming unless somebody told you it was coming or you just knew it, right? Um, I think that's what he was planning to do with Jar Jar. I truly do. I
No,
think
I
he
do too.
wanted that twist.
Yeah.
He wanted that "oh shit" moment that you get with Vader in "I Am Your Father." Uh, that is genuinely what I think was the plan with Jar Jar, but people hated Jar Jar so much that he course corrected and basically just took him out of the rest of the narrative. Because that would have been so good if the whole time he had been manipulating Sidious, even though Sidious thought he was in control. Right? It's literally called the Phantom Menace, the first movie.
Right.
What are we talking about? Nothing about this is phantasmic at all. But if it was somebody who Sidious thought he already killed, a ghost from his past, his former master, had snuck up in there and without him noticing it, that would have been brilliant.
Yeah.
But the title doesn't make any sense really when you think about it. I guess people would try to pretend that it's Sidious that it's talking about. I guess.
Or
But
Maul.
it just
Darth Maul.
yeah, it just doesn't it's like
But
it could have been so much better if it would have been Jar Jar as he was Darth Plagueis. That would have
but
been
you would have
great.
had to completely rewrite and do Jar Jar better. Actually, what would have been better is to cut the Dungan out of it completely, or the Gungan out
Yeah,
of it completely, because it was ridiculous. The
it was.
actual smart move would have made Qui-Gon Jinn Plagueis.
Yeah, the whole
And
time.
at the end,
He's on the
he beats
council.
Maul. He doesn't die.
Yes.
That would have been the twist because Liam Neeson is very charismatic and lovable.
Well,
And
and it was
you
before Liam really, like, hit his stride, right? Like, everybody knew him, but he was never that guy. I think if they'd have pulled that off, it would have made he would have got to his zenith beforehand, right?
maybe,
Um,
but Imagine if he was Plagueis though, and he's hiding in plain sight the whole time. That would have been genius.
Would have been genius. The whole thing could have been genius because the Plagueis twist was clearly something he wanted to do, and it just didn't happen.
No.
He gets mentioned directly by Sidious to Anakin,
Oh yeah, it tells the
eventually,
whole story.
but tells him the whole story. Oh, oh, it would have been so good. It would have been so good,
It would have been,
but
but it wasn't.
nope.
And anyway, it is what it is. But this is more dumbassery. First of all, no one needs Barbarella. It doesn't even make sense in a modern world. Barbarella
Yeah,
does not fit in this world. It doesn't.
no.
That is something that doesn't age well. It's very much a thing of the hippies, LSD movement of the time. It doesn't
Yeah.
work in modern time. And of course, it's supposed to be a sex expose. And we know how Hollywood feels about that now. And you're going to choose this very unattractive girl, this Sydney Sweeney girl, to play a sex pot? Are you kidding me?
Well, it's happening.
It is. And of course, this is going to be a train wreck, dude. 100%.
It is.
Big time failure.
100%.
But anyway, let's see what happened in box office, shall we? Now, why are they still calling this Thunderbolts? This movie is called The New Avengers. Why are they still having it as Thunderbolt? Is that what the asterisk is for? I
I'm
guess that's what the
assuming
asterisk is for. It has an asterisk after it. Um, because it's not the Thunderbolts, it's The New Avengers is the name of the movie. But
Yep.
nevertheless, this thing is made what 135 million, 136 million dollars on a minimum $400 million budget, including
Yeah.
all the involvements.
Well, don't
Uh,
worry, he's gonna get more work, the director of
he
this.
is. We
Not
just
his
saw.
fault.
Yeah,
Not his fault his movie's ass.
yeah,
Um, and the sad thing is I've heard varying reports. Some people said it's fine. Some
yeah.
people said it's, boring. Um, the truth of the matter is, I'm just gonna spoil everything for the world. Most of the MCU is boring. They're fine. They're okay.
Yeah,
They're not
there's like a
terrible. They're
five.
not Yeah, they're okay. They're fine. There's a few bright spots here or there, but the real thing that drew you in, whether you knew it or not, was the actors
And the fun.
because they actually were stars,
Yeah,
believe it or not.
yeah.
These ones aren't. Nothing about these people is a star. They're just
No,
not.
late night
They're
matinee.
just not. Yeah, they're not drawing a crowd. They're not the type of person who they walk into a room and everybody's going to lose their mind or the thing that the thing that you just have or you don't, where you walk in and people look at you and smile, and they just do it. None of these people have that. Robert
Yeah,
Downey Jr. has that. Chris Evans has that. Hemsworth has that because he's pretty, but still he has it. Um, these men have this,
yep.
and
Scarlett
by the
Johansson
way,
as well.
Marvel. Yeah, Scarlett has it. Marvel understood that, by the way, at least at one point,
Yeah,
because if you watch Endgame, who are the three main characters? The three
yeah.
men I just mentioned.
That's
They
right.
knew who their stars were. They
Yeah,
weren't confused.
yeah.
They don't have that anymore. None of these
Well,
people are that. I like some of them, but they're just not that. They
it
don't have it.
it's also the complaint that the reviewers have for this movie
Yep,
is the fact that you can't understand the movie unless you watched the previous
yeah,
Disney Plus stuff,
which is a problem.
which is never. You
One of the
should never do
strengths
that.
one of the strengths of most of the MCU, except for the direct, like Infinity War to Endgame. You obviously need to watch Infinity War. But most of the other ones aren't that way, even if they're sequels. You don't need to have seen the other one before it to understand what's
No,
going on
because
necessarily.
that's how you don't
Um,
do Hollywood. Yeah,
Yes, that's like rule number 1, right? You usually don't do that. There's
no,
there's exceptions, of course, but typically you don't wanna do that. You wanna make it so anybody can pick it up and they can get the gist and we can just go, right?
right.
We can just run.
That's right. But this movie, you need previous knowledge,
Yes.
right?
And the same thing is with, the only reason I knew what was going on in a lot of Brave New World when I watched it is because of this show we do, and we talked about the stuff that
Yeah,
happened. I didn't watch those shows, but I had enough general knowledge, I knew what was going on
sure,
relatively. If you
sure.
didn't, you would have been all kinds of confused because they have the black Captain America, not Falcon, the other one, the failed one. He's a big plot point in that movie, most people have no idea what who's that guy? Who's this guy? Who's this old black guy? Why is he
Yeah,
why is he a super what's he doing? What?
yeah.
What's going on? Like, it's
Uh,
completely confusing.
it does. It does. And of course, one of the other big problems that Thunderbolts has, or excuse me, the new Avengers, is the fact that there is no anchor. And
That's right.
they took another character you could have done a series of things with in the century and just threw it away. It's gone now
Yep.
because somehow, I don't know how, but this crew of basically non-powered people defeated the Void. Not even Sentry. They defeat
Um,
the Void.
Chester, I have
What?
it under good authority. It was through the power of friendship, and
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
saw. Me
being
too. I heard that. That's right.
hyperbolic.
Power of
Yeah.
friendship.
She hugs him, I think, and
Yeah.
then he just calms down.
Yeah.
Oh,
Mhm.
or
Yeah.
why'd nobody else try that with the Sentry? If that's all, just a hug?
Yeah.
Anybody gonna
Yeah.
hug him? What the hell?
Yeah. But if any of you actually read comic books, you would understand how absolutely ridiculous that statement is. The Sentry is the most OP character in Marvel.
He is. He
Yeah,
is. He's outrageously powerful.
he is.
Um, yeah, no, she beats him with the power of friendship. Aw.
Aw. Um,
Aw.
Now this movie right here, it hasn't made a lot of movies. It's a horror movie to be fair. But this movie actually is getting a little bit of noise coming out of the horror people though. They seem to like it. Clown in a
Uh-oh.
cornfield sounds kind of dumb, but there is some noise coming out of that community that this one is pretty good. So I'll have to check it out. Um, Even though it hasn't made much money, but horror movies is kind of tough.
Shadow
Right?
Force. I like the name. I do.
I do.
I do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
It's just the right amount of cheese.
it
Just the
is.
right amount of cheese. Yeah.
And it's one of those black action movies, and a strange
I'm
couple
fine
with
with
a.
that.
I thought black exploitation was supposed to be a bad thing. Anyway,
No,
there's an
no.
awful lot of it. But a estranged couple, of course, they're estranged. No one can be in love. With a bounty on their heads, must go on the run with their son to avoid their former. Of course, there's a kid, former employee, a unit of shadow ops that has been sent to kill them, kill them, kill them.
Amazing.
Hollywood hates families. They hate families, dude.
Amazing. They do.
Yeah,
Uh, it's one of the things that my mind for some reason went right to this when you said, "Why can't anybody just be a couple?"
yeah,
GTA 6 has a chance to do correctly. We'll see if they do, and just let the 2 main characters be a couple, and let that be like, if you're gonna tell this, if it's gonna be a love story, let them be in love. Do it.
yeah. Well, they're
Lean into
selling
it.
it as Bonnie and Clyde, right?
Yeah, lean into it. Let's do it. Bonnie and Clyde's an amazing story. It really is.
Yeah.
So it could be cool. It could be cool.
Oh, friendship. It's a gay movie. Nice.
Lovely.
Lovely. Well, hopefully the gays enjoy it. You know, they deserve their movies too.
Mhm.
Okay, this is trying
Tall
to teach us a
tales.
lesson. All right. I don't need lessons. Thank you very much. Lily, boy, these movies are making so little money, dude. Unbelievable. It's only 50 theaters, but
Well,
still 52
yeah.
grand you can make from one movie, one theater.
I'm just saying we're in, the middle of May, or near the middle of
Yeah,
May.
right?
Where's the movies at, guys? What are we doing?
Mm, mm-hmm.
Where are the movies
And
at?
we checked it earlier, dude. There are some movies coming this year, but I haven't seen them hit.
Yeah, they're all coming within, like, 3 weeks of each other. What are you guys doing? Hollywood,
Yeah,
what are you d who is running Hollywood anymore? Is it just retards? Like, only retards at the top?
it looks
There's
like
not a
it.
single smart person left in Hollywood that can be like, "Maybe we shouldn't put these $300 million movies, put them all out in the same 2 weeks. Maybe we should space that out a bit. I don't know. Give it a shot."
Okay. Now, why did someone think this was going to be a good movie? It's only in one theater, but it's about some architect lady who goes to Israel to build their Supreme Court as an architect. That
What?
doesn't sound very interesting for a movie at all. I mean, a documentary maybe,
Oh, boy.
but a movie?
Nobody
Uh,
asked for this.
yeah. So Thunderbolts, no money. Sinners is raking it in. That's $140 million, and I guarantee you they're in the green, dude. I guarantee
Oh,
it.
yeah, they're making the money. They're making them. Good on them. I hear it's good. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I
I've been
gotta watch
trying
it
to go
too.
see it, but nobody wants to see it.
Oh, really? Yeah, no, I just got to go to the Finnish database and watch it when it drops. But this one's getting a lot of people are legitimately liking it. So cool. The Accountant 2, I'm surprised it even made that much money. It's freaking Ben Affleck, isn't it? Oh, no. This is some. No, it is. Yeah, this is a stupid Ben Affleck thing. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm just not a fan of Ben Affleck at all. I just don't like him.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Now, how about that Minecraft movie? Is that anywhere here? I hear
Right there,
that one
number
hit a
3.
billion dollars.
Number 3, go up.
Oh, there it
Number
is.
3,
Yeah.
Minecraft movie.
Ooh, look at that, dude.
Just under a billion. Just under a billion.
And when it hits
It'll hit it.
Blu-ray, it's going to hit it for sure.
Yeah, it'll hit it. No, it's good. I'm happy for it. It's honestly that should have made probably almost 2 billion, if we're being honest. It's Minecraft. Uh, but it didn't, which just tells you everything you need to know
Yeah, but you're going to
about
get
the
more.
industry.
You're going to get more of
Oh, they're
that.
gonna yeah. Oh, for
Yeah.
sure, which is fine. Listen, we are maybe Chester, maybe we've figured it out because we've talked about it. What's gonna be the next era of how the superhero era is basically done.
Right.
They're still gonna make the movies, but it's never gonna hit like it did.
No.
So that's over. Which is a shame, but it is what it is. So we've talked about it. What's it gonna be? Is it gonna be like cyberpunk? Is it gonna be future? Is it gonna be sci-fi? Is it gonna be cowboy westerns make a resurgence again? They do that every so often. Um, I think maybe it's the video game era. I mean,
There
these
are
video
some
game
good
movies
things to
are making
choose.
some money. They're
Yeah.
making some money. You got the Mario Brothers movie made a bunch of money, made more money than this. You got the Sonic movies have been consistently making money,
Yep.
and they're really good. This year, I think there was another one that came out too. I can't remember, but I don't see any reason why you can't take some of these beloved video game franchises and just make them into movies. Nintendo especially, or the Nintendo-like games like a Sonic, would be great for it for animated, which obviously look at Mario Brothers and obviously the Sonic movies. Um, I don't see any reason why you couldn't keep doing that. I mean,
Yep.
just keep doing it. Don't put a bunch of nonsense in it and just make family-friendly, fun little
Yep.
movies. Just
No, absolutely,
that's all you
dude.
gotta do.
I mean,
Make your money.
I'm looking at this list. They just some random thing. Now, Diablo, you could definitely do some horror
Oh,
fantasy movies with
oh
that.
my goodness.
Um,
Honestly, Diablo would be better as a show,
I think
in my opinion.
so as a show.
Yeah.
Also, the Elder Scrolls. There is
Yeah.
many seasons of great fun there.
Mhm.
For sure.
Mhm.
Uncharted, nah, they went the wrong direction with this dude.
Yes.
Tetris, oh, fuck off.
They already
Uh,
tried that, didn't they? Didn't they already make a Tetris movie? I swear
no,
that
I
or
heard
maybe it
they
was
would. I heard
talked
they
about.
would, and Pac-Man as well. These don't
Yeah.
fit. Star Fox, you maybe.
Star Fox could be fun. The problem with Star Fox is that you're nowhere near the peak of that franchise, right? That
No,
franchise peaked 20 years ago.
yeah,
Uh, so maybe if they were gonna if Nintendo was gonna really push it, you
they
could.
are.
You could
By
make
the
a nice
way,
little small one.
Nintendo
Good. Star
Switch, they're
Fox is
bringing it
awesome.
back. Yeah.
I love Star Fox.
Bioshock, oh come on,
BioShock would if done
easy.
well, easy money.
Yeah,
Easy money
very
if
interesting
done well.
story. We've of course
They've
seen
already done Resident
Biohazard make
Evil.
money. Yeah, Call of Duty, yeah,
The problem with Call of Duty is there's no Mario
story.
of Call of Duty. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Yeah, there's no Master Chief. So it would just literally just be the name Call of Duty and okay.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Now, God of War is another one. I don't know how well that would go.
Here's the problem with God of War is they're not gonna make God of War. They're gonna make Dad of Boy. And
Yeah, that's true.
I don't wanna watch Dad of Boy. It's why I didn't play Dad of Boy. I wanna watch God of War. If you
Right.
made Kratos from the old God from PS2 era, I'd watch the shit out of that in the movie theater. That'd be
I mean,
fun.
you could do it. You could do it. I just
Yeah.
they would take quite a bit, quite an application. Kirby,
Yeah.
no. Mass Effect, absolutely.
I'm
There is a
surprised they haven't already.
right.
I
That is
don't
a
know why.
space opera right there.
That'd be
Yeah.
easy money. It wouldn't be hard to make because it's a space opera without huge space battles. That not at least not that many of them, right? Like
Well, there's some. Yeah.
yeah, it's mostly groundwork that you're doing. So, yeah, man, Mass Effect should be an easy one to do.
Yeah.
One of the problems you're gonna have with it is the ending. You have to you'd almost have to change the ending or at least explain it better because Mass Effect 3's ending is dog shit. I just played
Yeah.
last summer. I played through the trilogy again for the first time since it came out, and Mass Effect 3's ending is still dog shit. It's a terrible ending.
It is, but there's definitely a story here.
Yes,
Kingdom Hearts, no. Tomb Raider, we've already
they've done it.
tried it. Yeah, it's a Street Fighter, not really.
I've done Street Fighter.
Assassin's Creed, already
They
tried. Crash
tried and
Bandicoot,
failed.
no, no.
Donkey
Um,
Kong, you could do Donkey Kong,
yeah,
especially
well, like a
with
Disney thing, like Nintendo, sure. Mega
yes.
Man, if you,
They've already tried, I thought. Didn't they have a Mega Man movie?
I don't know, but
Animated Mega Man movie?
if you did a whole storyline about her, there might be something there.
Of Crash
Metroid,
Bandicoot, yeah.
that's not
Yeah.
Metroid. That's a Metropolis. What in the hell you are? Did I
No,
make?
that's Metroid right there.
Sorry, I'm here.
Metroid is
Metroid. That's
Metroid.
what I meant.
Yeah.
Either one of these, maybe. Fallout. They've already tried. They're in the process.
Successfully, whether Chester enjoys the show or not, they made money. They made their they that's a successful show, Fallout.
Sure.
I think you could make a better movie of it though, if you just leaned into more like Fallout 3. You don't have to necessarily use one of the game stories, but like the tone of like a
Yeah,
Fallout
just
3.
post-apocalyptic.
It-
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
The vaults.
Me-
Metal
I'm
Gear,
I have no idea why Metal Gear hasn't already been a movie. I truly
because
don't.
there's some actual really interesting things going on with Kojima's story. Actually.
Yes.
It is quite interesting what the Metal Gear is. Mortal Kombat, we've already had two or three or four or five actually. Sonic the
Yep.
Hedgehog already
Did
being
it.
successful. Halo bomb.
Let's just forget about Halo. Let's just pretend we never had the idea. It was a collective insanity,
It
and let's just
was
move on.
girl power nonsense. Elder
Oh,
Scrolls, dude, 100%,
yeah.
100%.
These
Um,
pictures are in the wrong
they
places for
are,
these,
but
but yes,
it's okay. The Elder Scrolls has a really good storyline. Actually, there's a
it's
lot you
phenomenal
could do
lore.
with that.
The
Yeah.
lore of the Elder Scrolls world is some of the best in video games. It
But
truly
trying
is.
to save Septimus, that what was that? Oblivion.
Oblivion. Yep.
Yeah, that would be a good place to start with this. Grand Theft Auto. Ah, dude, there's so many movies that are that already. Um,
Another one I'm surprised they haven't already done. It's the biggest Grand Theft, especially that one there is the biggest singular video game of all time. It's the singular biggest piece of singular media of all time. Grand Theft Auto 5. It has generated, I think, $7 billion at this point just by itself, which is insane. I'm surprised it hasn't already happened, to
do
be
you think it
honest.
would
I don't know
translate
why.
though?
It depends. Depends. I mean, yeah, it's just a crime
It's
drama.
just
So
a
yeah.
crime drama, yeah. But they do have story arcs though. They got main
Yeah.
characters. It's definitely a thing. Mario Kart, of course, doesn't apply to what we're talking about. Smash Brothers doesn't either. Now, Zelda. You
Another one.
could
How has that not already happened?
definitely do something with Zelda.
Yeah, you can have fun with Zelda.
Yeah.
You can have fun with Zelda.
And we've already seen Super Mario
Mario did
Brother.
it,
For me, the one that really needs that is the one that doesn't have a picture, The Elder Scrolls
which is strange because it's one of the biggest franchises of all
of
time,
all
but okay.
time. That's why it's number six. But
Uh,
this right here, they could definitely. We know people love fantasy, dude. They love it.
yes.
And it's open ended enough that you're not going to irritate people with various choices, like The Witcher. We want we want Geralt. That's what we want,
That's right.
and you didn't give it to us. The Elder Scrolls has a lot more freedom in there, right?
Yes.
But the storyline and the deep lore, if this was handled by the like a Peter Jackson type, that
Yep.
kind of guy, you could have either a really interesting movie or I think a TV series.
You have about I think it's about 1,000 years between the founding of the empire with Talos and, I think Skyrim. It's about 1,000 years.
Yeah,
So you have a long time there
you
to
do.
play with where you could get in there and tell something's going on.
Well,
You know what actually be kind of fun is in Oblivion, and I think he's in the other games too, but I know he's in Oblivion. Is Metamarco the King of Worms? He's like the Uber necromancer bad guy.
right,
Uh, he's just kind of in there at I think at the end of the Mages Guild quest line. I think is where you fight him,
right.
and you can do something really cool with him. He's a really cool character.
Yeah, no,
Um,
I think Oblivion's the way to go because you have the rift
yep,
problems, hell coming to
yep.
Earth, and all that kind of stuff. There's a lot you can do with that.
Many
Um,
runes, Dagon. That's a great name for a villain. Many
right?
runes, Dagon. That's such a good name.
It is. And you also could play it up over a few seasons before you get to the real meat of it, right?
Yes.
Doing the kind of little bit of political stuff and heroic stuff and just having hints, and then finally dropping the big actual Oblivion thing.
Well,
Uh,
since they in Skyrim, they skipped ahead a while, and there was a big civil war and everything, right? Where or a big w there was a big war where they got taken over by the elves. Um, do that. You could do that.
you
If
could,
you wanted to do more you wanted to lean into, like, political stuff, tell that story. Why
yeah.
not?
And another
Like, there's
one
a lot you could do.
that's not in this list because they dropped the ball here in the past, I'd say the past two iterations. So the current one is
Mhm.
absolute destruction. The last one is very mixed on people liking and hating it. And of course, that's Dragon Age. But
Yeah,
Dragon Age, once again, is a little more open ended. You could do kind of a main character as you like. But the story of how the races interact in Dragon Age is very different than we're used to, right?
right.
And that could be cool. It'd be something different.
Yes.
Um, you know,
Yeah,
so
no,
maybe you're
Dragon
right.
Age would be great. Um, one of the great things about Dragon Age and Oblivion or Elder Scrolls is there isn't really a main character because the player is the main character, right? And you can make them be basically anything. So they, like you said, they have a lot of freedom. If they wanted
They
to
do.
do Dragon Age would actually be perfect for this because of the different factions. You could have different factions be represented by different whatever you want. So if you want, different races in there or like even the fantasy races, or you want, a chick character as a main and a man character
Sure.
as a main,
You get
you
away
could
with
do
it.
all of that.
You
Yeah,
could.
easily.
Yeah. Now, this wasn't on the other list, but I mean, Final Fantasy hasn't had anything yet. That's insane, dude.
It's had some
It says some
animated movies,
animated,
but
but we're talking live
yeah,
action, of course.
I don't
Uh,
yeah, I don't think so. No, it hasn't had a live
no, it
action
hasn't.
anything.
It had that poorly received, high-end CG attempt movie that they made, which I don't mind. I enjoyed it at the time. But there's
Mhm.
one right there that they could definitely do something with.
I'll tell you the one if they were gonna take one of the games and adapt it,
Oh,
the one that absolutely should be adapted is not 7, because fuck 7, is 6. Final Fantasy VI's story is by far
hmm,
the best of them all.
yeah,
By far.
yeah. And of
And
course,
Red Dead Redemption,
yeah, they
yeah,
that's easy. That's money.
easy money.
That's
That's
money,
that's
money,
that's easy money. I don't
easy
know.
money.
There's been a lot of talk about rumors and talk about doing a Red Dead Redemption 2 or a show based on the story of Red Dead Redemption 2. Uh, the problem you'll have with that is one of the things that makes Arthur Morgan is the guy who does his voice. He has such a like gravelly, earthy voice. It's not
Gravitas. Yeah.
real. It's not actually his voice, obviously. So you're gonna have to find somebody who has something similar, or at least has the physical charisma to pull it off. Because Arthur is, while he is a terrible, terrible man, he's also very sympathetic. Because
Yeah.
you start to see from his perspective why he makes the decisions he makes.
Yeah.
And that's hard to do. It's very hard to do.
It is.
So it would be a very hard job for whoever got the role.
Yeah, but you would have to do a good job of casting.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of Borderlands. I don't like the look of it and the zanies. It's not my thing. And they did make
Yeah.
a movie and it bombed horribly.
Well,
Half-Life,
all the
however,
actors were in their 50s. Like,
yeah,
what are
they're a
we
bunch of
doing?
old ladies. I don't know what they were thinking. But Half-Life
As
actually
great as
has
it
an
would be,
incredible story to it.
as great as it would be, I don't think Valve would ever approve it
Maybe not, but
ever.
I mean, there's a serious story with this though, right? Because some of
Yes.
these things you can't make in Street Fighter. I mean, they try, but there's not really a movie there.
Hey, I love that Street Fighter
I
movie.
do
It's
too,
not a
but
good movie, but I
you know what
love
I
that
mean.
Street Fighter.
Well, that's just because of the guy playing the main bad
Yes.
guy. He was the great Raul Julia, I think his name is.
He was born to
He
be
was
M.
boy. He
Bison.
was
I don't care
epic.
what anybody
He
says.
was anyway. But
He
Half Life
he was
actually.
putting on a he was putting on an Oscar-worthy performance in a movie that had no business having that performance.
That's right. No, it was really good. Now, Half Life is basically to the movie of it would be X Files on steroids.
Yeah.
is what it would be, and you could have something really cool with Half Life. Um, I'm just kind of goes, no,
You
I'm
could do
looking at
Spyro. Spyro could be fun, an
for
animated
kid
Spyro movie.
things. Silent
Yeah,
Hill, we got a couple
they
of them.
yeah, they
Um,
tried.
it would be nice to see another take on that because there's some meat on the bone there. Elder Scrolls, of course, Far Cry,
Yep.
maybe.
I'm
Uh,
surprised that hasn't
oh,
happened.
Dead Space,
They
dude.
were they were teasing a Dead Space movie. Did that ever come out? I swear they were
No,
teasing
I
that.
don't recall, but there's a story there for damn sure. That's a
Oh yeah,
hardcore, grotesque horror.
yeah.
Um, Devil May
Devil May.
Cry. There
Yeah.
are,
Well, that anime exists. I don't know if anybody's
yeah,
happy with it, but it exists.
that's true. Ratchet and Clank, a
Ratchet and Clank could
kid
be a
movie could be
great.
fun.
Oh, it'd be great.
Yeah.
I love
Uh,
Ratchet and Clank. It's a shame what they've done to it. They tried Warcraft. I wish they'd try again. I liked the Warcraft movie. I don't know. Maybe I'm just
I
a
liked it.
huge
No,
nerd.
I liked it.
My wife loves it. She's one of her favorite fantasy movies
It's
is the
great.
Warcraft movie.
I enjoyed it. Yeah, for sure. I wish we had more. Tenkin
Yep.
actually has more story behind it than the other fighting games.
Yeah, Tekken does. Yeah.
Technically, yeah. So you could do something with that, but it's not as popular as the other ones. The Sims, no. Fire Emblem, I don't know this is a game at all.
How would you do a Sims movie? How would that even what would that even be?
It would just be some goofy. Remember that? Remember that?
I
No,
hear
no.
Fire Emblem's really good. Hitman, they've already done 2. The first one's pretty good. The
The
second
first
one,
one is actually really good. Yeah.
yeah, the second one not so much, but the first one's really good. Force Unleashed could be a decent like series, but I don't
Well,
know if it'd make if
it's what
they'll do a movie
something
with it.
like that is what we should have got from Disney instead of the
Yes,
nonsense we got. Something like this is what you should have done.
yes.
Gears of War, abso-frickin-lutely, dude. There's a great story there.
Fable as well. Another
Oh,
one that
Fable.
could
Yeah,
kill it as a movie.
that'd be a lot of fun. That could be a fun
Fable be
movie.
a great movie to aim at like that 12, 15-year-old bracket, right? You don't need
Hmm.
to go any higher than that for that because it's, very high fantasy
Yeah,
concepts. Yeah, Fable could be great.
it could be. Gears of War, there's obviously
Oh,
some really good stuff there with the Locust.
it needs to be rated R, it needs to be hyper violent, it needs to
Yeah,
be everything Hollywood is afraid of making. It needs to be every 80s movie at once.
yeah.
That's what Gears of War needs to be.
Well, you also have another one that's not going to be on this list. Resistance with the Hellgast.
Yeah, Fall of
That
Man. Mhm.
that is another one that could be something really cool because that is
That's a franchise that needs to come back. I don't know why it hasn't.
right. Well, that is not alien, right? That is interplanetary, you know, politic.
Human.
Human,
Yes.
Mars versus Earth, right?
Right.
And there could be some fun stuff with that. We already talked about that. Screw Banjo Kazooie. Um, Dragon Age, I mentioned. Chrono Trigger. Dude, Chrono Trigger's got a great
Yes.
story.
Chrono Trigger has arguably the best JRPG story of all time.
And if you follow the story, it's actually would be one of the better handlings of time travel.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah,
Paper
Chrono
Mario,
Trigger.
I don't know about all that. Gran
No.
Turismo, they already tried it, I think, and it
No,
bombed.
don't need that.
Animal Crossing wouldn't make
Well,
sense. Dishonored could work. The
there's a
Persona
story to it
series,
and it's different looking. It could be something.
yeah, it has an interesting visual. Persona, I don't think would work as a movie.
Well,
Maybe an anime.
the idea of how it's working because unless my daughter loves the Persona series. From what I understand, they're kind of traveling into the internet or something. It's kind of Tron like, isn't it?
Yeah, it's what they call a isekai series. Basically, they go into another world. But yeah, what I understand, it's like a video. I don't know if it's like a video game or just like another world, a cyber world type
Yeah,
thing. They take on a persona. That's why it's called that. Um,
that's right.
yeah, but I mean, so the Matrix, like we've done
Yeah,
this. We've
something
done this
like
before.
that. We've already seen it. Yeah. Stardew Valley, maybe.
I don't know. If you made it, the problem is like Minecraft. There's not a lot of real like
Not
story
really.
there.
You're just
Yeah.
you're going to help grandpa on his farm, you know.
Right. Right.
Yakuza, there are literally decades of Yakuza movies already. Max
Max
Payne, we
Payne's
already
already been
tried it.
done.
Yeah. Wolfenstein, would be great.
Wolfenstein would be great. The problem is I don't want modern Hollywood to make it because it's just gonna be a big like the last Wolfenstein game, just a big preach fest
Yeah,
about
yeah, you're right.
my white Nazis, my, Trump Nazis.
Yeah, just Nazis are bad guys, and we're gonna get them.
Yeah. I think you know how you have zombie fatigue? I have Nazi fatigue. My
No, well,
lord.
yeah, that's for sure
Ugh,
true. Soul Calibur, Prince of
good.
Persia, haven't they
Tried
done
it.
that?
Yeah, it didn't work out, which is a
Uh,
shame because it should, but it didn't.
that we kind of got
That's
movies.
one that Splinter Cell makes no sense. Why is there not a Splinter Cell movie?
Yeah, no,
I
you
love the
could.
Splinter Cell
We
game.
do have
Sam Fisher,
yeah,
oof, love me some Sam Fisher. One of my favorite lines in any video game of all time is delivered by Michael Ironside because that's who was the voice of Sam Fisher in
right,
those games. And I think it's in Chaos Theory. I think that's the one that it's in. And basically, you could grab guys and interrogate 'em, right? That was one of the ways you could get information.
right,
And one of the mission things was to grab a guy and interrogate him. And you could grab one of these guys and ask, interrogate him. And basically, Sam asks him, tell me some information about what's inside there or whatever, something like that. And the guy goes, well, they have weapons and ammunition. And Sam goes, I'm shocked and amazed. And the deadpan delivery of Michael Ironside, I still to this day, I'll just tell people when I'm very unimpressed that I'm shocked and amazed the way he did it.
right.
It's so funny. The first time I heard it, I laughed for 5 minutes straight. It's so I'm shocked and amazed.
Yeah, and of course, this wouldn't be too out of the ordinary of many of the kind of espionage spy movies we have. It's a little more high techy though.
It
Dragon
does have
Quest,
some,
there's
yeah.
definitely a story there for sure.
Yeah, oh, for sure.
Ninja
Ninja
Gaiden,
Gaiden.
maybe. Contra, same. We already mentioned.
If you were just trying to make a really cool '80s movie, like '80s style shoot 'em up movie, Contra'd be great.
Yeah, sure. Twisted Metal, I don't know.
There's a show already about Twisted Metal
Is
right now
there?
that
All
exists.
right, there
Yeah.
you go. Medal of Honor, once again, just war movie. Saints
Oh,
Row.
Saints Row.
That would be if you did it right.
Yeah,
If you did it
yeah.
right. Of course, we have
If
WWE all the time. Bayonetta, there's a story there.
Yep. She has to be hot, though. That's gonna be a problem.
Yeah. Quake,
I'm
there's a
actually
story there.
surprised we haven't seen a Quake something, to be honest, 'cause
Yeah.
there might not be a more influential franchise it's one of those under the radar, only gamers know about Quake, but every gamer knows about Quake.
Right.
Uh I don't know if there's a more because I mean, there isn't first person shooters like we have them without
Well,
Quake,
we've had
period.
Doom, a couple of movies from Doom.
Yeah,
Quake's the same thing.
yes.
So Doom seemed to have taken that position.
We
Monster
watched
Hunter,
that Monster Hunter movie, it's not that bad.
but it's
I
also
remember people were
horrible at the
shitting on it.
same time.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a Mila Jovovich movie, so
It
it is what it
is,
is, but
and
it's
it's,
not that bad.
but it's
It's
not
not
Monster
really
Hunter,
Monster
dude.
Hunter.
Yeah.
No, but a lot of those video game movies that was the other one I was thinking of, I think. A lot of those video game movies are like that. It's not really the same thing. Um, but as far as, like, what you're looking at by itself, I thought it was actually pretty good. Like
Standalone. But the middle of
yeah,
that movie is should have been the whole movie.
yes, yes.
That's the
I
problem.
agree,
Yeah.
I agree.
Um,
Duke Nukem.
yeah,
Oh,
okay, fine.
if they could get away with a Duke Nukem movie, boy, I tell you, like a real one
Yeah,
where
yeah.
he's just a full-on misogynistic prick, I would love it.
It would be funny. It would be they do it as a parody though. Dead Rising, once again, very similar to Dead Space. There's a story here
Yep,
for sure. Punch Out, no.
Punch Out,
Simpsons, already got it.
Simpsons.
Oh, Near Automata, that would be expensive as hell, dude.
It'd be too expensive, there's no way it'd ever
Yeah.
get made.
Middle got plenty of stuff on that. We don't need that. Yeah, we already talked
Diablo
about that.
2, ba
Legacy of Kain.
Legacy of
There's a story
Kain.
here.
That could be a fun little mini series, I
It
think,
could.
Legacy of Kain.
Yeah.
I'm surprised we haven't got more Legacy of Kain, actually. That's shocking to me with as big as vampires have been for the last little while.
Yeah.
Weird.
This would be interesting. Darksiders, I suppose.
Only
Um,
if it was Darksiders 2, because that's the only one that's any good. The rest of them are kinda okay.
there's a story there, but no, no, not really. I think we're getting kind of deep
Jak and
here.
Daxter.
Oh, the
Jak and
evil
Daxter could be
within.
fun.
There's something there.
Yep, yep. Whatever happened to
Crisis.
Crisis, man? That just disappeared.
It did, didn't
They
it?
just don't make that.
Yeah.
Alien vs. Predator, that already exists. Um What do we got here?
Nothing really.
Yeah, yeah, well, Harry Potter, but that obviously exists.
Yeah.
Double Dragon exists already. Um,
StarCraft,
StarCraft, yeah, that could be fun.
because I did
That
like
could
the
be fun.
Warcraft movie. I liked it,
I did too.
and this
I
would
did
be
too.
something a similar vein. Um,
Well, the problem with StarCraft is, um, it would have to be huge budget most likely to pull it off.
yeah, no,
So,
it would be.
well,
Yeah.
it would depend though. I mean, there's a lot in there you could just one of the problems a lot of these video game movies have is they try to either do not like Monster Hunter, it's not really about the game, it's just kind of about the game, or they try to do everything, like the
Right.
Mario Brothers movie where they kind of, you get the whole world and they kind of explain all the lore and da da da. Which they pull it off there because it's animated and it's Mario. It's
That's
not like
true,
it's deep
David.
lore.
That is true. There is
Um,
a near anime. Yeah.
but with some of these other ones, like StarCraft, the lore is very, very deep and it's very esoteric, a lot of it. So it would be hard to really go broad scope with it, at least at first. You would almost have to start off telling a very specific story. Like if you're going to make a war, they are making it, but a Warhammer movie. I think the way to do that is start off with the Space Marines and tell a very specific, straight up Space Marine story where
Yep.
there's a group of Space Marines being overrun or whatever, and that's just your story for your movie. And then you can build the lore and build the world around
You
that,
know they're
and
not going to
it,
do that.
slowly grow. Of course, that's my point. That's the problem.
Yeah.
They won't slow play it. Everybody wants to get right to the big dance. You gotta slow play it sometimes. When you have these big, deep lores, you gotta slow play it. One of the things that the Witcher series did kind of okay was they did a lot of the world building the right way.
Yeah.
Like we didn't have a problem with them talking about Yennefer and the sorceresses and all that. That was all fine. It just wasn't The Witcher. It wasn't
No,
Geralt,
it
and we
was
wanted more Geralt.
false
Um,
marketing is the problem.
yes. So if you're gonna do it, you need to know what you're jumping into. And
Yeah.
one of the problems you have with StarCraft is the lore is fairly deep, just like Warcraft.
Yep.
Where do you jump in?
Yeah.
Where do you jump
And you
in?
also you're going to have problems because you got to get the Starship Trooper references,
Yes, which
right?
are intentional, but
Which
yes.
are intentional. Now Shenmue here, I'm going to get yelled at for this, but there's a story there. It's just boring.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. It's true.
Right.
It's
Uh,
true. Thief,
I mean, why
Deus Ex,
you could.
Deus Ex you could
Deus Ex
do.
definitely something cool there for
Yep.
sure.
Dynasty Warriors could be
We already
fun.
got them. We got many
Yeah.
movies like that.
Ace
R-
Attorney. Yeah, make an Ace Attorney movie.
yeah. RuneScape, sure. Why not?
Yep.
Just
The
Cause, of
Tales of
course, easy.
games. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Fantasy Star, yeah,
I'm actually
maybe.
surprised they haven't made a Just Cause movie. Those games are huge,
Yeah, they
and they're
are.
fun.
And it's
They're super
easy.
fun.
That would be easy,
Yeah,
right?
super easy.
Um, Parasite Eve, I don't know that.
I mean, in fairness, they have made a Just Cause movie. They're called Fast and Furious. That's what they're called. That's basically it.
Right. I mean, that's what I mean. A lot of those games, we already have versions of them just with other
Yep.
cinema, right?
Yep.
But nevertheless, maybe you're right. Maybe the future is video game stuff, and that'd be cool. I wouldn't have a problem with
It
that.
would
Um,
I think that's where we're heading because they're the only ones that consistently are making money
yeah,
in the
yeah.
last few years.
Well, I mean, if we could get these skunks out of Disney and they actually
Yeah.
tried to tell an interesting mutant story, a little
Yeah.
bit lower budget, more simple, more intimate, you could there could be something with that. But
Yes.
I have zero faith in them.
No,
100%.
they can't stop tripping over their own dick. Like,
No.
they wanted to make a Thunderbolts movie. What's the first thing they do? Let's bring in the Century. Why?
Why? Yeah, and then
Why?
let's call it New Avengers. Let's switch it up. That's dumb.
Just
Um,
ridiculous, bro. And then, oh, well, they can't actually beat Century because are you kidding? So
hug it
they're
out.
gonna beat him with the power of friendship.
Yeah.
Oh,
And of
okay.
course, another big problem you have with that, if you had actually done a Thunderbolts movie with Baron Zemo, right?
That's
Who
right.
they already introduced, we got him. He's there.
He exists. He's right
Um,
there.
you could have had something smaller and more fun. It's the same
That's
problem
the
with the Suicide Squad nonsense. You have them
Yes,
taking on shit that's not meant for them to face.
correct. They have no chance
None,
against these things.
none.
Uh,
They
like
beat
what we're
Starro
probably
with
gonna get.
rats. Are you freaking kidding me?
So dumb. Like we're probably gonna get with Spider-Man, the next Spider-Man movie. They reset the board. They could have easily given us Chester. They could have easily given us Gang Wars.
Yep,
They could have did it. They could have had street level Spider-Man with street level villains fighting about these gangs, dealing with that problem. And instead, we're gonna get, I guarantee you, some big city level or world level threat again. And it's
right.
just stop. You don't have to do that. I don't know why they think they always have to. You do not.
They're
You
just
simply do
caught in
not.
the epicitis.
Yes.
Yeah, no, because Spider-Man it should be much more grounded.
Yes. He
Yeah,
can have his moments where he has his time to shine because Parker isn't, he's a smart boy. He can figure stuff out.
yeah,
But he should be, most of his time should be being the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
right.
That's who he is. That's who he is. So yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame that they can't stop tripping over their own dick. They had a chance after Endgame to really reground, bring things back down, calm everything down, lower the stakes, and then rebuild it. Get
Yep,
back to those big
that's what they should have done.
universal stakes. But they just refuse to.
Yeah.
They just refuse to.
Well, and they're also caught in the message, right?
Yes.
They're 100% captured by it. They can't get away with it, even though people have been pushing back against the message for years, years.
Years and years at this point.
And of course, now you have, with Trump involved, you have this open rebellion against it.
Yes.
People now feel comfortable to speak against it, and that's a good thing because we've covered a few things, and you've all seen it in the fact that you're starting to get people pushing back against all of this racism because that's what it is. It's isms. It's ism
Yeah.
is what it is.
Isms. Yeah.
And you're getting people openly pushing back, and for me, it's like, thank God it took you long enough. It took you long enough. I mean, like
Yeah.
that stupid thing with the girl and that boy stole something from her baby. You know, she had like a baby bag and the boy stole something and she threw out the N word. Now, that's not necessarily the best response. But
Mhm.
the simple fact that she was getting bullied, people came and said, no, 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 no. That's enough of it. Because the racism coming out of black Americans right now is intense. It's been there for a
Yep.
long time. It wasn't there when I was a kid as much, but it's been around a long time. But this currently is ridiculous. It's just pure, hardcore, bigoted racism,
Yeah.
and
Pure
that's
hatred.
unacceptable. It's unacceptable.
Pure hatred. No, I think you're seeing a lot of what's been uh colloquially, I can't say the word, colloquially called black fatigue. I'll use the word black. And because it's actually a different word, but I'll use the word black. And I've seen even videos of, black Americans who are, they're in full support of this
Well, they're
because
in
they're
it as
tired of
well
this.
because they're not. They're
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 they're tired
Americans.
of the
They're just
fuckery. They're
Americans.
tired of
Yeah.
it. But my point is, there's a lot of it, and
Yeah.
why you're seeing people who are, openly using certain vernacular now, is because they're just tired. They're just wore out. It's not even that they necessarily, it's not even one way or the other. You can't have a situation where there's these double standards where they're allowed to murder people and basically get away with it or get praised for it or get millions of dollars for it in some
Or
cases.
just
And
speaking
then
this vile racism constantly.
when you are a young mother at a park with your infant child and somebody's messing with your stuff and you say something, maybe you could say, she shouldn't say it, whatever. That's not my place to
It's
judge
not the
what she does or
point.
doesn't
Yeah.
say. And they try to kill her, try to ruin her, destroy her and her husband's life for saying a word that the only reason they knew about this word is because a literal pedophile, by the way, a black pedophile from Somalia was at this playground filming. Now wait a minute. Why is that not the story? Why is
Because
there a pedophile at a child's playground filming anything? Why is there a pedophile at a child's anything?
yeah. Yeah.
Period.
Racism.
That should be the
Um,
story.
it should be. But anyway, I do need to do, I think. Roger says, what about a prototype movie? You could create a treatment, I'm sure. David says, What I like about My Hero Academia Vigilantes, I haven't seen that yet, is that the street level style storytelling, which is the point, and it's quite a fun watch so far. Yeah, I hope it does well. My Hero Academia itself was pretty fun. I watched that
Yeah,
with my son, but nevertheless, I gotta go. I got work.
Chester's gotta get out of here. He's gotta go make the money.
I do. Yeah,
Someone's gotta make the money. It might as well be him, he
might as
said.
well.
That's
And
what he
I
said.
got
Yeah.
I got doctors waiting. So take us out of here, dude.
Doctors. It's good for doctors to wait. It's good for them. As much as they make us wait, they can wait a little bit.
It's
They
true.
can learn some patience for once.
It's true.
I'm gonna do your favorite one because I don't have my list open, and I like it. It's a good one. The master is not the one who completes his training. The master is the one who never stops.
Namaste. Later, everybody.